Chapter 2056. Sensing the aura of Lin Chen's godly soul, many true gods in the star continent flew into the sky one after another, turning into a meteor shower in the sky. That overflowing might and murderous aura spread across the sky. Follow me. Kill Lin Chen and go to the divine realm to receive the reward. Becoming a god is only for today. Dean, he is a ruthless person who declared war on the divine realm. I am a ruthless person. Rumble. Divine winds swept across the sky and flashed by. The encirclement formed by the true gods was instantly destroyed by the flash of fire. What happened? It's Lin Chen. He turned into light. Dean, your head fell off. The true gods were in a mess and were defeated in a single exchange. Dark green divine light streaked across the clouds. Lin Chen's wings of wind flapped continuously and swept up divine wind. His explosive speed was something that even half-step divine kings could not reach. Lin Chen, oh Lin Chen, don't think that you can leave safely after declaring war on the divine realm. You are too naive. Two divine lights of water and fire slowly descended. In a split second, water flooded the sky and fire burned the sky. Another 20 or so experts descended. None of them were lower than divine body integration realm experts. Lin Chen sneered mockingly. Have divine kings become so worthless recently? One after another is coming. The graceful woman in the lead covered her mouth and chuckled. The chance to become a god is one of kind. In order to become a god, I'm afraid any divine king would be tempted. Divine King Fiery Brow said coldly, you can no longer use that trump card that can temporarily increase your strength and instantly kill your opponent. Are you waiting for death or resist and be killed by us before leaving with your corpse? Looking around at the true gods who had spread out in a circle, Lin Chen shrugged. You guys really like to use this kind of method of talking while blocking other people's path of retreat. Divine King Fiery Brow was unmoved. Stepping out of the realm of mortals has a price to pay. If you declare war on the deity realm, you will definitely die. The blue-robed woman sized up Lin Chen and asked curiously, what is it about you that makes you so calm after losing your external force? Lin Chen said with a straight face, because the ancients often say that experience allows us to become calmer with each passing day. That's why I've been calm for many days. As soon as he finished speaking, the extremely gorgeous divine light transformed into a pillar of light that supported the heavens and the earth and illuminated the universe. A group of people came out of the light pillar and stood behind Lin Chen. Who is it? The majestic martial god king, Wu Changtian, who was wearing a long robe and had a jade-like face, snapped coldly. How dare you steal my martial god prefecture's prey? The godly king of the star continent is truly audacious. The corners of the two god kings' mouths twitched. Motherf ***, why did the martial god manner appear at this critical juncture? Taking a step back, Lin Chen's expression was extremely solemn as he said solemnly, martial god prefecture and two god kings. It seems like today is going to be a dangerous day. The blue-robed woman gritted her teeth and scolded. Wu Changtian, what the ****CK do you mean? With your achievements and status back then, the martial god prefecture already had the qualifications to enter the deity realm. Flaming brow god king angrily rebuked. If you had accumulated enough, the martial god prefecture might have already become a part of the deity realm. But you refused, and now you're trying to steal our prey? You're a god. You're a ghost. What are you trying to do? Oomph. Wu Changtian flicked his sleeves and sneered. What do you know? Think about it. You brought your wife out, drank some wine, and sang some songs, but your daughter suddenly ran away with someone else. Wu Changtian was enraged as he shouted. Therefore, this king has decided to kill this Lin Chen. Whoever dares to disturb this king will be killed. A chill ran down his spine as Lin Chen thought. Why doesn't it look like he's here to act? The 8 divine guards hidden in the martial god prefecture's team were having a hard time holding back their laughter. The two god kings' pupils shrunk as they took a step back from Wu Changtian's aura. What a strong determination. It seemed like Wu Zhantian really wanted to kill him. Fire and water filled the sky as the two god kings' fighting spirits spread out like an encirclement. At least in terms of the number of god kings, they had the advantage. Lin Shun took the lead as he smashed the 8 divine guards' defensive line with a punch. His wind god wings flashed a few times as he sped up and rushed out of the encirclement. Wu Chantian shouted coldly, "Chase after him!" The two god kings wanted to move, but Wu Chantian intercepted them like a phantom. Under the two people's puzzled gazes, a great chaotic battle between divine kings unfolded once more. The 8 divine guards chased after Lin Shun as they communicated with each other. The patriarch has ordered Sir Lin Shun to take good care of the young miss. She is determined to follow you this time. I hope Sir Lin Shun will not let her down. The young miss is the most beloved person in the prefecture. Everyone hopes that she can return safely. After receiving the message, Lin Shun smiled and said, "I will. As long as I have something to eat, I won't let her go hungry." Under the cover of the martial god prefecture, Lin Shun used up half of the wind god set's energy and rushed to the boundary zone of the star continent at the fastest speed. "Lin Shun, over here." The pleasant nomological voice transmission caused him to be slightly stunned. Yi Qing Wu was waiting alone in the eye of the hurricane. She waved her hand and transmitted her voice. Lin Shun landed and appeared with Shun Ling Xuan. Lin Shun was about to ask which way Yi Qing Wu pulled the two. There's no time to explain. Let's go. Yi Qing Wu pulled Lin Shun into the Hurricane Canyon where the fiendish winds wreaked havoc. Even half-step divine kings did not dare to step into the Hurricane Canyon. It blocked a large group of people from entering. When Yi Qing Wu brought the two to leave, she said seriously, "As you guessed, Zhao Anren sent me a message. They were ambushed in the Third Realm Sea. The 10 great divine kings from the star continent sent expert from the Realm Sea to intercept us." Lin Chen's face sank. "What's the situation?" Yi Qing Wu said, "We have the geographical advantage. The casualties are not high. Initial estimation is that the number of enemies exceeds 50,000. If we continue to stay, our base may face the risk of being exposed." The 10 great divine kings from the star continent who were ordered to capture Lin Chen a year and a half ago belonged to a certain force in the divine realm. Who would have thought that they would make a move again? It's okay. What I want to do is already done. Lin Shun smiled knowingly, full speed back to the Realm Sea. Strategic change. Our goal is to fight all the way to the divine desolate star field. Our goal is the Star Sea. Lin Shun had just escaped danger. Before the divine realm's 5 continents had a shocking change. Inside the divine realm, it was a golden world. It was as if they had arrived at the divine realm's extreme boundary. There were hundreds of families in the divine realm, with the 3 great divine clans as the highest. And this place was an extremely secret area in the divine realm. Even the upper echelons of the 3 great divine clans could enter. The golden world was filled with snow-white rays of light. It seemed close, but in fact it was far away. One of the 10 great divine Tao space law, whose attainments were comparable to the heavenly Tao's 10 great divine Tao, was subdivided, separating the dimension of space to the furthest. One of the 10 great divine Tao's time law was like a still ocean, swallowing everything and turning the flow of time into a standstill. In this space, it seemed as if time could never be allowed to move forward. However, in the distant golden world, there was a towering tree swaying. It was like the origin of all living things. All the laws seemed to flow towards it. Karma rotated, time stood still, space changed, power opened, seals moved, golden branches and leaves bloomed all over the world. The pure white branches were like spring snow, soft and beautiful like jade. Every flowing vein on the tree's roots was like a newborn bloodline. Above the towering divine tree, in that space-time divine river, pure white energy danced like jade, surging with endless laws. There was no end in sight. Suddenly, 3 consciousnesses woke up in the space-time divine river. They opened their eyes. They were like a pair of stars twinkling inside the divine river, gazing into the distant void. This aura, it's him. In that battle back then, he was actually able to leave behind a wisp of remnant soul. Have they returned? No, it's just a wisp of remnant soul. There are also a few old generals who don't know what's good for them. It's like a mayfly trying to shake a tree. What's the point of coming out now? Just in case, I'll make a trip there personally. Wait a moment. It's currently a crucial period of seclusion. The main body and the Emperor's soul cannot leave the divine tree. Don't move rashly. Send someone. If the two god emperors are killed by him, it'll be a loss. The three consciousnesses sent out an order. It traversed space-time, crossed dimensions, and transmitted to a distant star region. Then, the three consciousnesses slowly closed their eyes. They fell into a deep sleep once again, as if they had been like this since ancient times. The divine tree swayed, sprinkling an eternal golden radiance. It could not see the end of it. In the space-time where time stood still, it continued to grow, standing above everything else. It quietly took root there, eternal and unchanging. It was like the end of time, the end of the universe. No matter how many heroes, legends, and living beings of all races had passed by it in the past, they all turned into dust and turned into nothingness. The cycle of history was eternal and unchanging, but there was an extremely brief interlude. Among the group of people who swept through the four-dimensional universe, there was once a person who wanted to give it to the people of the human race. Chapter 2057. 10 days later, a huge earthquake swept through the entire four-dimensional universe in the 5 continents of the God Realm. Even if the God Realm wanted to suppress the news, they could not prevent the real news from spreading. Since ancient times, there was only one person who had challenged the 3 God tribes. This person, surprisingly, coincided with a certain period of history. He also came from the 3-dimensional universe. His name was Lin Chun, instantly killing a divine king, escaping from the encirclement of the divine domain, the birth of Lin Tiendi, and so on. A series of shocking, legendary stories spread across the 4-dimensional universe at an unprecedented speed in all the star zones where the human race lived. Some people sneered, some admired, some felt pity, and some waited. A storm was brewing. God Wilderness Star Region, extreme north. In the snow, a black-clothed youth with a resolute face held a jade scroll. His eyes shone with a crimson light. His name is Lin Chun. He dared to declare war on the 3 god tribes, killed 2 god kings, and escaped from the encirclement. How bold! The black-clothed youth slowly stood up and patted the heavy ruler behind him. My years of training here were not in vain. Finally, I found a compatriot with the same ambition. So what if it is the God tribe? We will not lose, even if we fight them for thousands of years. As the black-clothed youth laughed, an avalanche rolled. Amid the heavy snow, a group of god beasts rushed out of the vast snowy mountain range. There were extreme hell water dragons, 9-fold snow phoenixes, primordialized phoenixes, and so on. He rode on the dragons, as if he alone could fight against thousands of god beasts. In the Purgatory Star region, countless stars were burning in a sea of fire that resembled the law of fire. Fire dragons soared into the sky and covered the horizon. There were mysteries hidden in the world enveloped by the divine fire. It was as if some primordial god beasts were hiding in it. The slightest carelessness would cause one to be devoured in an instant. After passing through the sea of fire, a flame continent hidden in the sea of fire appeared. It was huge and had no end in sight. Big brother, this is a shocking secret. The charming and hot young girl skipped into the palace. The black-armored youth in the palace was discussing important matters with the others. His face was calm, and stories were written all over it. He was always calm, but when he heard his sister's voice, he could not help but say helplessly, "Sister, don't be so surprised. Big brother is in the middle of a meeting. Let's talk later." The young girl placed her hands on her hips and said in an old-fashioned manner, I have important news from the divine desolate star field. Someone in the god realm has declared war on the 3 god clans. As soon as these words were spoken, the expressions of everyone in the hall changed abruptly, and they stood up in shock. Well, what did you say? Kid, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. Declare war on the Protoss? Who dares to have such boldness? And this is the realm of the gods, declaring war on the territory of the gods. The black-armored young man stood up with a stern expression. His gaze was like a knife as he looked straight at the young girl. Is this news confirmed? The young girl's eyes were filled with excitement. It's absolutely true. Even a strand of the legendary Lin Tiandi's soul chose to come out and protect him. Where is he? We've broken through the encirclement of the divine world. Ha ha ha! The black-armored youth howled with laughter. My path is not lonely. My path is not lonely. Little sister, his name is. 3-dimensional human, Lin Chun. Pass down my orders. Gather all information on him. If we know where he is, send out all the God Kings to receive him. The blood-red continent was boundless as it floated in the starry sky. It was like a boundless celestial body lying quietly in the depths of the starfield. The battles that broke out on the blood-red continent caused space-time to tremble from time to time. The blood of humans and Azuras splattered everywhere. Divine Wilderness Starfield, one-line sky, Blood Azura Battlefield. This was originally the territory of the Azuras. Since ancient times, few races had dared to set foot here. But recently, there was a force that shocked the world. It dared to head straight for the Blood Azura continent and fight with the Azuras. Behind the battlefield, in a military camp, a young man with fiery eyebrows and blood-red armor was observing the situation of his subordinates. The star chart on the table listed the division of the troops and the situation of the battle. 2 calculators were calculating the situation and trend of each side. Suddenly, a general rushed in and said with joy, Fong Chuan, good news. Oh, Fong Chuan looked up. Has the rear one? No, we have confirmed our compatriots. In the divine continent of the divine realm, there is someone like you who cultivates the Tai Futian mantra. He has declared war on the divine realm and the 3 divine races. He sacrificed a divine king and killed 2 divine kings. The general's words caused a ripple. Fong Chuan's pupils shrank. Declaring war on the divine race in their own territory? What kind of ruthless person dared to do so? The situation is absolutely true. The divine realm is in chaos. That bastard Wuchen has issued an imperial edict to hunt down this kid until he dies. The general handed over a scroll. The intelligence is here. Take a look. When Fong Chuan took it, his eyes flashed. When his soul finished reading it, he couldn't help but smile. What a 3-dimensional human Lin Chun, declaring war on the 3 divine races. The heroes of the world are indeed from my generation. Ha ha. Pass down the order. Everyone retreat 10,000 miles. This battle has become a siege, something we're not good at. Change the attack plan. Also, do your best to find Lin Chun. Bring him and his people safely to our side. At the end of the 4-dimensional universe, there was a new world. Under the rotating continental plates, 3 divine talismans hung high. Goddess Palace. Inside the Goddess Palace, behind a blue screen, a beautiful and exquisite figure stretched her body as she listened to the report of a woman beside her. Not long after, a beautiful and puzzled voice sounded. It was hazy like clouds and clear water. In this world, there's actually a human who dares to declare war on the divine race. 3-dimensional human, Lin Chun. He is also the one who inherited Fu Tian Emperor's will. The puzzled voice floated into the distance. Looking over, the world was prosperous and powerhouses were as common as clouds. This world was full of women. There was not a single man. It looked like a world with only women, but no powerhouse of any race dared to enter. Whether it was the Phoenix race, the Dragon race, the Azura race, or the gods of the human race, not a single powerhouse dared to enter. The master of this world was so powerful that she was an existence that intimidated all races. No one knew the origin of such a heaven-defying existence. Since the moment she became famous, she was already a supreme powerhouse in the four-dimensional universe. The women under her command were all powerful and powerful. They were not inferior to the elites of the divine realm. The master of this world was recognized by the four-dimensional universe as the #1 empress in the entire universe. Her beauty had already surpassed the category of charm and stepped into the realm of being as powerful as the laws of nature. Not only the 5 continents of the divine realm, but also the entire four-dimensional universe was stirred up by the name of one person, no matter if it was an enemy, a friend, or an unknown power. All of them started to act with Lin Shun as the center. Chapter 2058. God Realm. In the cloud palace in the sky, gods stood in great numbers. The atmosphere was oppressive to the extreme. A peak god king said solemnly, "This brat has already completely disappeared from the star continent. I'm afraid he has already broken through. With Fu Tiandi's old army covering him, he's like a tiger that has grown wings. We can't stop him." If not for the higher-ups, the 2 god emperors wouldn't have just been injured when facing Lin Tiandi. Fu Tiandi's old army is still obstructing our forces in the dark. Another god king suddenly shouted, "Since time is changing, we have to seize every second. Send enough people to the Realm Sea to kill this brat. Send the imperial edict to the world. Gather all forces in the Realm Sea and hunt down this brat in the Realm Sea." The gods looked at each other and immediately made a decision. With 2 divine lords and 10 divine kings as the leaders, dispatch 200,000 true deities into 3 teams to enter the Realm Sea and search for Lin Shun. No matter how many Realm Seas he entered, we have to drag him out. The rest of you must be wary of Fu Tiandi's old army. A cold shout resounded through the sky. We swear to kill Lin Shun and leave no way out. In the second Realm Sea, when a mighty army of gods stepped into the Realm Sea with an unstoppable momentum, almost no one could stop them. They tore through the void and advanced at an extremely fast speed. In the first and second Realm Seas, god kings and above could travel through the void. However, in the third Realm Sea, they couldn't travel through space in a large area, and their senses were extremely limited. The army of gods in the God Realm was made up of many forces in the 5 continents. The leaders were the 2 god lords. Behind the god lords were the 10 god kings from the star continent that surrounded Lin Shun. The leader of the god kings was the red-eyed young god king. The leading blue-haired old man stepped on the laws of stars and teleported through the void. He said solemnly, "We are about to enter the third Realm Sea. Prepare to split into 3 teams. Wait a moment." The other young god, Lord, suddenly said. The gods instantly became silent. The brilliant divine light path that was teleporting at an extremely fast speed suddenly stopped. In front of everyone, an old man's figure slowly appeared like a ghost. The old man held a horsetail whisk in his hand. He was wearing an ordinary hemp robe. Stars revolved in his eyes. Red-eyed God King's eyes trembled as he resisted the urge to turn around and flee. This old man was one of the monsters that took Lin Shun away a year and a half ago. Although the old man's life force was like a dying flame, it still made the 2 divine masters' expressions turn grave. The green-haired old man frowned. "Another student of Fu Tiandi?" The young divine master said in a deep voice, "He's very strong. Although his life is like a candle in the wind, if we fight him head-on, we will have to join hands to deal with him. All troops, listen to my orders. Continue to enter the third Realm Sea and rendezvous with the people of the Realm Sea." The red-eyed youth led the team around the hemp-clothed old man and continued forward. In the skies above the second layer of Realm Sea, only 3 people remained. The hemp-robed old man glanced at the departing army and sighed softly. "Lin Shun, little fellow, this old man can only help you up to this point. The rest is up to you." A great battle between divine masters was about to break out. Third Realm Sea. Fog lingered around, and the space barrier was stable. one of the 3 islands hidden in the vast realm sea, Cloud Scale Island. On the shore of the island, the shuttle of flying Apsara broke through the waves. Lin Shen leaped and landed on the island. Who is it? The people on the island were on high alert and surrounded Lin Chun in an instant. Wait a moment, it's brother Lin Chun. Xue Jiaming descended from the sky and berated everyone. Lin Chun, Shunling Shuang, and Yi Qing Wu landed on the island. Everyone gathered on the island to discuss the battle situation. The moment Lin Chun landed on the island, they heard that Lin Chun had personally gone to the Divine Continent to declare war on the 3 great god tribes of the Divine Realm. In an instant, the people on the 3 islands were filled with fighting spirit as they roared in anger, declaring war on the 3 god races right away. They really didn't follow the wrong person. In the gorge on the island, everyone sat cross-legged. Lin Chun sat with everyone on the mountainside to discuss countermeasures. Lin Chun said, "What's the situation?" Xue Jiaming said solemnly, "East, South, West, and North are all allied with powerful forces from the First and Second Realm Sea. Only the eastern side is weak. The enemy's number is estimated to be no less than 100,000 true gods with 3 divine kings leading the troops. The encirclement is shrinking." Lin Chun said solemnly, "We also have enemies in the Second Realm Sea, 200,000 true gods and 10 divine kings." Everyone sucked in a cold breath. Challenging the 3 god races indeed had to pay a price. This time, it was 200,000 true gods who came. Adding the 100,000 true gods in the Realm Sea, it was 300,013 divine kings. On the other hand, on Lin Chen's side, even if they got reinforcements, the number was only 30,000. After the Second Realm Sea, divine kings could shuttle through the void and shift. Hence, it was impossible to go back. They could only go forward. Yi Qing Wu, who was always frivolous, had a solemn expression for the first time. 1 to 10, moreover, the enemy's realm this time is almost all above 4th level divine realm. Those who control laws are not in the minority. On the other hand, on Lin Chen's side, those below 4th level true god realm occupied the majority. The true gods who control laws were not considered few, but also not many. On the surface, looking at the number of people and realm combat power, in terms of realm, the other side was higher. In terms of numbers, the other side had overwhelming numbers. It was simply a hellish start. The other side could crush Lin Chen's group to death with their eyes closed. If the enemy gathered together, even if Lin Chun could reappear the combat power of Pantheon Island, he might not be able to break through. Quantity led to a qualitative change. 300,000 true gods and 13 divine kings. If they were united, even a divine master might not be able to break through. Moreover, Lin Chen already couldn't use that instant kill trump card in a short time. Lin Chen asked everyone with a smile, 10 to 1, and 13 divine kings, are you guys scared? Everyone present was stunned, and then laughed, surprisingly in unison. Not scared. Would die anyway. At most, we'll kill a few divine realms' true gods. If we kill one, we'll break even and earn 2. Everyone's fighting spirit was high. They were all inspired by Lin Chen's previous battle record of challenging divine realm. Lin Chen smiled. This battle seems difficult, but in reality, we need to clearly see the enemy's advantage. Lin Chen pointed at the map and drew a horizontal line. First, the other side doesn't know our intentions. Our goal this time is to cross the Realm Sea and reach the Dark Star Sea region of the 3rd level Realm Sea. There's a secret passage that no one has used before that leads to Divine Desolate Star Field. In Divine Desolate Star Field, after crossing the 9-World Mountain, there are our compatriots. As long as we reach there, we can get some time to rest. Sword Master Qing Yi told Lin Chun that behind the 9-World Mountain, there were trustworthy compatriots. Since that was the case, Lin Chen set that as his goal. Even if there were any changes, he could develop alone in Divine Desolate Star Field. The heavens were high and the Emperor was far away. Divine Realm's hand couldn't cover Divine Desolate Star Field. Second, we have the advantage of time and place. In terms of the map advantage of Realm C, they don't understand it as well as we do. We can always take the initiative. Third, the advantage of being a team. Their numbers and cultivation realms seem very intimidating, but the situation inside is uneven. They're all old foxes from different powers in Realm C, each with their own ulterior motives. There are also different powers from Divine Realm. Lin Shin smiled in ridicule. Sometimes, old foxes are much easier to deal with than hotheads. The reason why they didn't pay a great price to search for our location is because they're afraid that their own allies will take advantage of us. This way, the situation is very clear. Our goal to break out of the encirclement is to avoid clashing with Divine Realms experts as much as possible. We have to specifically target those from Realm C. As for the powers from Realm C, they won't be too active in providing support. It wouldn't be surprising if they sent out a bunch of actors. As long as we break out of this encirclement, we can reach the Dark Star C region of the 3rd level Realm C region and head to Divine Desolate Star Field. Then, it will be considered our victory. Lin Shun and everyone made a plan together. The battle of 30,000 versus 300,000 was about to begin. Chapter 2059. Breaking out of the encirclement wasn't a simple matter. Everyone's cultivation and realm were different, so their movement speed was also different. Once the battle started, even the speed of retreat was different. Each peerless love plant pouch could hide a true god. Lin Shun didn't have more than 100 peerless love plant pouches, so he could only hide a few dozen people. The enemies in the realm C surrounded them in a triangle formation. Next, a large number of true gods from the divine realm might appear in the center. At this time, a ball of divine power appeared in Yi Qingwu's palm. Her divine soul condensed, and a sky full of stars and moons appeared. A large amount of starlight spread out like light spots, slowly extending and surrounding Lin Shun and the others. Lin Shunlook? Yi Qingwu said excitedly. Sister Qinchi has already deduced the location of the Divine Realms team entering the 3rd Realm C. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. They are divided into 3 teams. Yi Qinchi. This was the master secretly trained by the Yi family. She was helping Lin Shun in secret. With her help, Lin Shun and the others could know the location of the true gods from the Divine Realm more easily. On the other side, according to the realm and cultivation, Lin Shun finally decided to divide them into 5 teams. The 5th team, led by Luo Yu, was in charge of investigation and confusion. The 4th team, led by Xue Jiaming, was in charge of cover and detour. The 3rd team, led by Shangguan Yun, was in charge of attack and support. The 2nd team, led by Shunling Shuang, was on standby in all areas. The 1st team, led by Lin Shun, was on standby in all areas. The 5 teams covered each other, and the final goal was to cross the center of the 3rd Realm C and reach the Dark Star C domain. Lin Shun finally said, "Don't let your hands and feet be tied because of the plan. Our strategic goal has been decided, so we have to be flexible. You fight yours, we fight ours. Maintain the initiative and let me be the leader. Strategically, we have to have the courage to fight 1 against 10. Tactically, we have to have the flexibility to fight 10 against 1. In a mountain spring, Shunling Shuang was bathing and changing her clothes. Shunling Shuang waved her hand like a knife, cutting off her long hair and tying up her chest. Her slender figure changed into a man's black robe. With a wave of her hand, divine light floated and changed between her cheeks. Her delicate dimples turned into the appearance of a man who was as fair as jade. This was the martial god manners disguise technique. They used the martial god's bloodline to disguise themselves as someone else. Very few experts could see through them. If they followed their master and declared war on the deity realm, they could no longer use their identities as members of the martial god mansion. Otherwise, the martial god mansion would suffer the wrath of the deity realm. Shunling Shuang looked into the distance. What I need the most is experience and practice, not seclusion and cultivation. On the other side, in the snow-wind continent near the center of the threefold Realm Sea. A large number of true deities descended. Realm Sea and the other experts were all shocked. It was one of the 3 teams from God's domain. The number was close to 70,000. The red-eyed youth in the lead was led by Blazing God King and 2 other God Kings by his side. He said with a sunken voice, "From now on, in accordance with the imperial decree, you all will move together with us. If we capture Linchun, we will split the rewards." A golden-robed man appeared in the air with a majestic gait. He casually said with a smile, "Since everyone from God's domain has come, then I will leave you all in charge." An obscure, vicious light flashed past the golden-robed man's eyes. He was one of the infamous God Kings of the Second Realm Sea, Xuelong. Xuelong said, "This king has determined that at this critical juncture, their only path forward is to set foot in the Fourth Realm Sea. Meanwhile, our Realm Sea's 100,000 true deities have already surrounded them in the Northwest Sea. Their specific stronghold is hidden quite well, so we have yet to find out. However, the defensive power in the East is weak, so we deliberately left it for them." Oh, Blazing God King's brows jumped. "A bit interesting, continue." Xuelong unfolded a jade slip. Divine force condensed into a star chart, displaying the situation of Realm Sea's camp. He pointed at the central region of the Third Realm Sea. If they enter from this direction, they will only approach the dragon race's territory. Their movements will be limited. If they barge into the dragon race's territory without permission, they will only encounter enemies in front and be surrounded by our army from behind. If they go in another direction, our 3 sides can quickly join forces. Blazing God King's eyes flickered. He said indifferently, "This kind of arrangement is a bit interesting. However, this child Lin Chen rarely plays his cards according to conventional methods." Blazing God King waved his hand. "The East Side's defense will be left to you all. This king and Xuelong will personally oversee this place. This child is cunning. If we encounter him, in order to ensure that we can stop him, we cannot have less than 2 God Kings." The 2 God Kings from God's domain had just retreated when Blazing God King gave out orders. He even mobilized the experts of Realm Sea to form a line of defense. Xuelong had a belly full of anger. Mother of Asterisk Kerr, God's domain's God Kings really know how to act. You even mobilized my people. Are you telling me what to do? A ruthless light flashed past Xuelong's eyes. Rumble. Suddenly, a loud explosion shook the entire snow-wind continent. The earth shook and mountain peaks shook. Xuelong was puzzled. The true divinities guarding this place were the main force under his command. There were 30,000 true divinities, so who dared to invade? Clang! The clouds broke apart. In a split second, a vast bell fell from the heavens. The words Divine Domain were written on it. Xuelong's mouth fell open. Sending a bell to the Divine Domain? Who dares to do this? Blazing God King floated in the air, his eyes changing. This aura, could it be almost 6 hours after the Divine Domain army left, the moment the bell fell, a youth's laughter spread out in all directions. Everyone from the Realm Sea, you have to eat your fill with this great gift today. From the southwest side of the continent, flames instantly surged into the heavens. The sound of killing broke into the continent. Tear open a hole and ruthlessly beat them. As long as they haven't died, fight to the death. Rush into them and engage them in close combat. Don't open up any distance. The sounds of killing shook the heavens, and the sound of breaking wind filled the air. The first squad, led by Lin Chen, had appeared on the snow-wind continent. A silver-robed figure floated in the air, breaking through layers upon layers of obstructions. In nearly the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Blazing God King and Xuelong. Xuelong's pupils shrank, although he had thought that this boy wouldn't act according to the rules. But this was the first time he had seen someone come knocking on his door. Blazing God King was so angry that he laughed instead. You can't use that ability that temporarily increases your strength. At this critical juncture, you, Lin Shun, dare to provoke us 2 God Kings? Are you looking to die? Xuelong acted cautiously. He immediately said, I will call the 2 of them back. Blazing God King lifted a hand. Hold on. This boy's avatar technique is difficult to distinguish between real and fake. The only way to distinguish between them is to use that strange, mysterious suit. The boy in front of us might not be his main body. Blazing God King calmly said, "Don't be led by the nose by him. Let's kill his people first." Lin Chun lightly smiled. A God King is a God King in the end. You're always so difficult to deal with. As Blazing God King spoke to hear, a fierce smile appeared on his face. Lin Chun, oh Lin Chun, you really are muddle-headed. You could have just abandoned them and fled to the divine desolate star domain, but you chose to return to the realm sea. I think you were just too daring and arrogant. Shui Long took a step forward. This king wants to see just how you will stop 2 of my God Kings by yourself. Lin Chun faintly smiled. The weak only bully the weak. The strong only rush into a disadvantageous situation. I am different. I like to fight alone. Chapter 2060. Wang, Wang, Wang. Divine Dragon Possession. Lin Chen's pure strength surged. 2 divine lights, one black and one white, appeared in his palms. Within the snow-white divine light, the divine elephant went berserk, and the wind and clouds surged. Within the pitch-black divine light, God's guide enveloped and suppressed. Lin Chun pushed his palms forward, and the black and white divine light illuminated the world, enveloping the 2 God Kings. Consumed 1,200,000 deity heavenly Tao points, activating God's guide Godhead. Consumed a large amount of chi and blood, activating divine elephant Godhead. The God's guide barrier instantly enveloped the 2 God Kings. Within the pitch-black barrier, a sea of fire overflowed into the sky, and thunder rampaged. It was as if a lightning realm had descended, suppressing all eternity. Not only that, the violent God's guide barrier triggered waves of divine soul attacks that shook the universe. It was as if a storm was ruthlessly crashing into the 2 God Kings' consciousness at a frequency of hundreds of times. While activating the laws of defense, Shui Long cried out in shock. Is this the F*King 4th stage of the divine realm? Blazing God King waved his hand, and divine flames descended. The laws of fire were even stronger than Lin Chen's, burning through the God's guide barrier. He narrowed his eyes. Is it the main body or a clone? Roar. The divine elephant let out a long roar, and the several 100-meter-tall divine elephant crossed the sky, trampling over mountains and rivers and stirring up winds and clouds. While the 2 God Kings' movements were restricted, Lin Chen's figure disappeared like a ghost. Blazing God King's pupil shrank. Such a strange speed could it be? All attributes increase speed. 500 times, 600 times, 800 times, 900 times. In the next moment, the divine light of the wind God's wings flashed past, and Lin Chen's flame flash kicked Blazing God King's back. The divine elephant aggressively smashed over, forming an attack with Lin Chun from the front and back, sending the 2 God Kings flying. The 2 of them suffered different degrees of light injuries. This was the first time Lin Chun did not rely on his 3 great talents to deal damage to a God King. Ha ha ha! Blazing God King laughed out loud, wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth. It's the main body. Lin Chun, you are really daring. He and Shui Long looked at each other, the 2 having a tacit understanding. Call for help. Crush this brat. Their target instantly changed from Lin Chen's team to Lin Chun. Their primary target was Lin Chen's main body. The 2 kings crushed the spatial jade slips, and Blazing God King grinned. How many more times can you unleash such attacks? Lin Chun laughed mockingly and said, Oh, are you doubting my great divine elephant's endurance? Do you want to try again? As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Chen's shoulders abruptly shook. His vast and profound soul energy surged like a sea of clouds, and a portion of it was reduced. A divine wind was stirred up, and the space right above Lin Chun blossomed into a brilliant vortex of the sea of stars. The vortex in the sea of stars was like a massive energy storm, extracting the energy of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Even the power of the stars in the sky was absorbed into the vortex. Extreme wind god set. Speed increase for all attributes, quickly refining the energy obtained by the host. Lin Shen recovered more than half of the qi, blood, and divine power that he had consumed earlier. Blazing God King had a dignified expression. Crimson rank cultivation method to recover qi, blood, and divine power at the cost of consuming divine soul. How could this brat's entire body be filled with good stuff? Moreover, it was the most troublesome support type crimson rank cultivation method. Support type crimson rank cultivation methods were hard to find. Even among divine king realm powerhouses, there were few that grasped them. However, Blazing God King grasped with one hand, and a blazing god halberd appeared. With the halberd in hand, his red eyes flickered with a terrifying divine light. He was handsome and extraordinary, like a king of fire in the heavens and earth, unparalleled. Shuelong's expression was solemn. This fellow was truly going to play with his life. As long as he could confirm that this was Lin Chen's main body, even if he was delayed here, once the powerhouses of the Realm C and Divine Realm joined forces, 13 Divine Kings and 300,000 true divinities, even if Lin Shen had a Divine King cultivation, he would still die. The true God troops, led by the 2 God Kings who had just left the Snow Wind continent, immediately received a message. Lin Shen's main body had appeared. He immediately gave up on the place that he had originally agreed to go to, and turned back the way he had come without stopping. At the same time, the true divinities of the Divine Realm heard the news and rushed towards the direction of the Snow Wind continent. In the northwest, on the Withered Tree Island, a green-haired divine king led 20,000 true divinities and moved a few thousand miles forward. His subordinates said anxiously, "Lord, why don't we go and capture that fellow's main body?" The green-haired divine king sneered. "Lin Shen is very cunning. I don't believe that he only has this trick up his sleeve. There must be something fishy about him appearing immediately. Our current location is the only way to bypass the Dragon Clan's territory. As long as he has a backup plan and wants to pass through here, he will definitely be intercepted by us." Not far away, in the Jade Dragon Sea area, a group of true divinities were hiding on the desolate island. Their auras were gone, and they were like dead rocks. At this moment, Luo Yu returned with a dozen true divinities and said in a low voice, "There are no signs of action. There are about 20,000 of them. What should we do?" They were the other 4 teams. Looking at the star map that Yi Qingwu sent out, Shang Wanyun and Zhao Anren looked solemn. The enemy's actions were not as they had expected. In the shortest route to bypass the Dragon Clan's territory, there was a team that had yet to move. "We can't wait any longer," Zhao Anren said in a low voice. As Lin Shen said, "The plan can't keep up with the changes. We have to ensure that the most important goal is to send Lin Shen's doppelganger and the second team into the Dragon Clan's territory." Shang Wanyun said, "Are you confident? They have a Divine King." "Divine King." Shui Jiaming raised a sword and his eyes were full of fighting spirit. "We have to fight even if we can't win. We have to hold him back even if we have to use numbers." Yi Qingwu said in a low voice, "I'll go with you. They are not true divinities of the Divine Realm, and their organization is not that strong. If one of Lin Shen's doppelganger and I can hold the Divine King back, we still have a chance." As soon as they said they would do it, everyone immediately came to an agreement. Without any fear, they snuck into the vicinity of the green-haired God King. Then, when they were close to the limit of their disguise, the 3 teams suddenly exploded. The green-haired Divine King, who was sitting cross-legged in the void, suddenly opened his eyes. His hair transformed into green snakes that stuck out their tongues. He smiled evilly. "They're here." Rumble. He stepped on the void, and the rules exploded. He was extremely fast. Once the chaotic battle started, Yi Qingwu and Lin Chen's doppelganger blocked in front of the green-haired Divine King. The green-haired Divine King smiled playfully. A level 4 Divine Realm and a level 9 Divine Realm. They don't even have the cultivation of a half-step Divine King, and they want to stop me? He smiled evilly. What tricks are you trying to play? Yi Qingwu smiled slyly. We want to play a few fun games. She clapped her hands, and the divine light that covered the sky transformed into a five-color divine palm that smashed forward. While the main forces of the three teams were blocking them, Luo Yu hid among them and observed for an opportunity. Then, the origin rules revolved at high intensity. Luo Yu stared at the gap in the battle with his pupils that were like colored jade rotating. 2 hours, 4 hours. Finally, when he was sure that the green-haired divine king was held back, he suddenly shouted, "Now pass!" Swoosh! 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 Streaks of flowing light flashed past at an extremely fast speed. Shun Lingshuang, who was disguised as a man, led the team and rushed through the chaotic battle circle. They quickly entered the Dragon Clan's territory. Almost the entire team had just passed. The green-haired Divine King's skills were a notch higher, and he instantly captured the phenomenon. This group of little kids actually entered the Dragon Clan's territory. On the Snowgale continent, the chaotic battle that was raging with the flames of war suddenly dropped in momentum. Is the second step successful? That means the third step is in the bag. Lin Shen smiled knowingly and clapped his hands. The pitch-black god summoning enchantment shrouded the two great rules and trapped the two divine kings again. Almost at the same time, Lin Shen stepped on the divine wind and escaped. He turned around and retreated. His extreme wind god set was unleashed to the extreme, and all his attributes increased to an unprecedented 1,900 times. And the people in the first team were the ones that Lin Shen selected from the 30,000 true gods with the strongest combination of movement techniques, speed, and combat power. The moment Lin Shen retreated, the two divine kings struggled to break free from the god summoning enchantment, reporting, "The enemy has retreated. We haven't formed an encirclement yet, and they're already running away." More than a dozen true gods came to report at the same time. Blazing Divine King's expression was uncertain. He sneered and said, "No matter, let them escape." Perception in the realm's sea was limited. It would be difficult to chase after them now. If they chased randomly, they might instead reveal a flaw. From this battle, Blazing Divine King faintly felt that Lin Shen's side seemed to understand the third realm seemed more than them. Shui Long said solemnly, "Our people are currently surrounding them from the southeast. His only choice is to return to his original stronghold." Suddenly, Blazing Divine King revealed a confident smile. "Then we'll set up a formation and crush him to death. Since he exposed the location of his main body, we'll strangle him to death." Dragon Clan's territory, Divine Dragon Heavenly Island. On an island with rolling lava, there stood a dazzling dragon palace. Inside was seething with killing intent. They were all the top experts of the Dragon Clan. Leading them was Red Lotus Flame Dragon King, who had transformed into human form. He wore a red dragon robe. His expression was arrogant as he looked down at the visiting guest. He said indifferently, "Human Lin Shen, why are you looking for this king?" Lin Shen smiled. "Naturally, there is a cooperation to discuss. There will be no lack of benefits for you." This Lin Shen was even holding a book in his hand. The title of the book was actually Actor, the Unheard Story. Chapter 2061. On the Snowwind Continent, divine light appeared frequently, and flowers fell from the sky. 3,000 laws descended. The majestic god kings who were like the sun of heaven appeared one after another, leading a mighty army. Ran away. F***CK, your mother. You two god kings can't stop a fourth-level divine realm? What are you doing? I beg you. Can't you use a bit more strength? If you use half of the energy you used on women to deal with this brat, would you let him run away? The god kings of Star Continent arrived with great difficulty. When they heard the news of Lin Shen's escape, they cursed God King Blazing. God King Blazing said angrily, "Don't be so shameless. If we could catch him so easily, this brat wouldn't be wanted by the Emperor. F***CK your mother. If you don't accept it, you could try it yourself later." God King Blazing and Shui Long talked trash. The scene was very harmonious. Then, the God Kings of Star Continent regrouped. After figuring out that Lin Shun had returned to his previous position, the God Kings were sure to win this time. According to Old MO, another team appeared near the Divine Dragon Archipelago. Should we go over? No, don't fall for this brat's trick of luring the tiger away from mountain. Just send a small team over. The main force must be placed here. Now is a rare opportunity. This brat can't do anything even if he wants to play some tricks. 10 God Kings were gathered here. The Snowwind continent even gathered 210,000 true gods. 20,000 true gods were dispatched to support the green-haired God King. And the last 2 God Kings and 5 true gods were hiding near the entrance of the 4th layer Realm Sea. As long as Lin Chen's group appeared, they would be entangled. This time, it was a complete encirclement. Although they didn't know Lin Chen's exact location, many forces in the Realm Sea had already searched once. The general area where he was hiding was more or less explored. Inside the shrine, the upper echelons of the God Kings stood in great numbers. A God King cursed. Really a F** King Fat Pig can't find the edge. This brat just has to be a unique weirdo. He doesn't have any method to his moves. God King Blazing ruled all directions. In a situation where there was no God Master present, he displayed his might and convinced the God Kings. In order to maximize our chances of finding him, we'll use this formation. No matter how fast he is, it'll be useless. Flames burned on his fingertips as he drew a majestic horizontal line on the map. The flames spread and extended across the entire map. Horizontal snake formation, with 12 deity kings and 250,000 true gods and over 109 stage true gods guarding the nodes of the formation. They pushed their way through. As long as one point was found and confirmed to be Lin Chen's main body, the other nodes could immediately come to his rescue. On the other hand, if they encountered Lin Chen and couldn't confirm whether it was a clone or a main body, they would have to deal with it. Judging from his battle record, his clone was nothing to the God King. Speed was crucial in war. The Divine Kings finalized their plans and immediately deployed their troops. On the other side, one of the 3 islands, Cloudscale Island, the flames burned brightly, and the divine splendor illuminated the figures on the island. Halfway up the mountain, an injured youth caressed his saber with his palm, his eyes flashing with a fierce light. I can't die yet. If I don't kill 1 or 2 God race beasts, my life won't end here. You also want to fight with the God Realms people? Leaning against a boulder beside him, a graceful figure with a divine bow on her back crossed her arms in front of her chest. The woman said indifferently, "Why so?" The youth hugged his saber and roared. The God Realm sent people to Tian Continent to join the army and chose my family. My parents weren't willing to hand me over, so they slaughtered them and forced me to go to the battlefield. Before leaving, they even forced me to drink my father's blood and eat my mother's flesh. The woman was silent for a moment and said, "What's your name?" "Lu Qixin." "Tang Jianghai." Tang Jianghai said again, "The God race is very strong." Lu Qixin put away his divine saber. Strong or not, and winning or not winning are 2 different things. In the gorge, Lin Shun and everyone in the first team sat cross-legged, their expressions tense. The situation was extremely urgent. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th teams were still fighting with the forces of the Realm Sea. No one knew how many people the other side would send to deal with these 3 teams. Moreover, in the first team with the strongest fighting strength, more than 2/3 of the true gods controlled laws. Lin Shun said, "How many of our people are injured?" A sword god in green clothes at the 8th stage of the God Realm said in a low voice, 50 are injured, and 3 are dead. They were all our compatriots who died while covering our retreat." "Is that so?" Lin Chen smiled coldly. "Remember our dead compatriots. Let the bastards of the God Realm pay for this debt." When Lin Chen asked everyone to calm down, the Star Divine's soul map in his palm finally changed. Buzz! It was Yi Qinshi who had deduced the situation of the other side's battle formation. A large number of light cocoons were arranged in a line on the star map. They were moving side by side in the direction of the three islands. Seeing the other side's formation, the two eighth-stage God realm experts of the first team showed serious expressions. Yuan Wujue, who had a saber scar in his left eye, had big eyes and a resolute face. He was one of the eighth-stage God realm experts of the first team. He carried a supreme-grade saber on his back. It was obtained from one of the two kings of the God realm that Lin Shun had killed, the black-robed God King. Lin Shun had given that supreme-grade saber to Yuan Wujue. Apart from Lin Shun, his clone, Yi Qingwu, and the others, he was the strongest. Yuan Wujue looked at Lin Shun and immediately said, "They want to wipe us out in all directions. Lin Shun, I suggest that we fight to the west." Most of the true gods agreed with Yuan Wujue's opinion. The west was the weakest force in the Realm Sea. Their formation was made up of one God King and less than 20,000 true gods. Even if it was the weakest defensive line, it would still be a tough battle for the first team that only had 4,000 people. Everyone had been strengthened by Lin Chen's strengthening function. Their cultivation techniques, divine weapons, and bloodlines had a certain advantage. However, the difference in strength and numbers was right in front of them. It was an unavoidable gap. Lin Chen said, "No, it's too dangerous." Yuan Wujue said solemnly, "But we don't have a better choice." Green-robed sword god Jiang Fan said solemnly, "Let them advance. If we continue to retreat, it will be the abyss sea behind us. The spatial turbulence there is on the same level as the bottom of the third layer of Realm Sea. It is enough to easily shred half-step God Kings and even God Kings. We have no way out." Lin Shun opened the starlight diagram. "If we fight to the west, it seems weak. However, there are experts from the God realm on both sides. There are two God Kings on the west side. Once they know that I am attacking with my main body, they can quickly reinforce the forces of Realm Sea and attack us from both sides. At that time, there will be one God King in Realm Sea and 3 God Kings on both sides. If we can't break through, we might be surrounded by 4 God Kings, and this is without counting the other experts. Even in the most optimistic situation, if we break through here, it will be hard to shake off the 2 tails of the God realm. Once we are dragged down, our only advantage will also be lost." Everyone was silent. Yuan Wujue said, "Then where should we fight?" Lin Chen suddenly smiled. Lin Shun pointed at the 3 light cocoons in the center in front of the 3 islands. "If we attack the front, we will attack the 3 God Kings of the main force." Everyone stared at Lin Shun as if they had seen a ghost in the middle of the night. What kind of method was this? Fighting a God King. You said it was dangerous. Attacking the other side's main force. Wasn't this even more ridiculous? Moreover, the other side was the God Realm's team. They were not like the Realm Sea's vassals who had ulterior motives. They were the true main force. There was this kind of fighting method. Chapter 2062. There were quite a number of elemental light balls in the dragon race's territory. Lin Chen's avatar used a wisp of his divine soul to collect the scattered elemental light balls in the dragon hall. After the system's upgrade, as long as he used his mental cultivation technique and released his divine soul, the elemental light balls would automatically enter Lin Shun or his avatar's body. The Red Lotus Fire Dragon King sat high up in the dragon hall. His dragon tail swayed, creating a wave of heat. Lin Chen's avatar and the leaders of Team 2 stood in the dragon hall. With the avatar as the leader, they looked directly at the Dragon King, who was a God King. Although he was in human form, his red, jade-like dragon eyes were arrogant and filled with disdain. "Cooperate? Explain to me, what do you mean by cooperation?" He slowly stood up and sneered. Explain. You people are not even God Kings. What do you have to talk about cooperation with me? Explain to me. What the F***CK? This is called cooperation." The Red Lotus Flame Dragon King sneered. His dragon roar shook the entire hall. Waves of fire rushed towards them. The dragon might was boiling hot. It was like a sea of fire was burning everyone's skin. The violent burning sensation filled everyone's senses, but no one stepped back. Where did you get the confidence to talk about cooperation with our king? A group of dragons rushed into the dragon hall and surrounded everyone. The lava exploded, and the dragon aura in the outside world resembled flaming clouds that danced like flying dragons. The Red Lotus Divine Dragons surrounded all the members of Team 2 outside the Dragon Palace with their flaming clouds of dragon aura. The Dragon Clan worshipped absolute powerhouses. Without equal strength, it was absolutely impossible to talk about the word cooperation. Buzz. 9-colored starlight appeared in the palm of Lin Chen's avatar. The dark red lightning law and the red violent divine flame were injected into the center of the star. The destructive aura of the 9 tribulations star slowly descended. The Red Lotus Dragon King instantly became serious. He sensed the aura of Lin Chen's avatar. It was enough to threaten him as a god king. Cooperation means that I will pay the price, and you will act. If you refuse, we will fight to the death. Let's see who will die more. Lin Chen shrugged. I don't mind. Anyway, I'm playing with my heart. Since I dare to come, I am well prepared. The Red Lotus Dragon King withdrew his dragon aura and did not answer Lin Chen directly. Instead, he waved his hand. Bang, bang, bang. A Red Lotus Divine Dragon in human form jumped down. He had a stocky build, thick eyebrows, and big eyes. He looked like a bandit. If you can beat my Yin Tuo, then we can talk about the cooperation you mentioned. This divine dragon Yin Tuo was in existence second only to the Red Lotus Dragon King. His cultivation was comparable to a half-step divine king. Time was of the essence. In the outside world, Yi Qingwu was still entangled with the deity king and could not be delayed. Lin Chen's clone was just about to step out and accept the challenge. Suddenly, the handsome man beside the avatar waved his hand to stop it. A smile appeared on his fair and delicate face. Master, let me do it. It was none other than Shun Ling Shuang, who had disguised herself as a man. Lin Chen's clone sent a telepathic message. Can you do it? Although Shun Ling Shuang's cultivation was at the late stage of Heaven Rank 9, there was still a big gap between her and a half-step divine king. If they really fought, according to their cultivation, even 5 against 1 might not win. Shun Ling Shuang said calmly, Life and death are nothing. If you're not convinced, then do it. Lin Chen's clone said, Teach your disciple and refute your master. Good fellow. Rumble. The divine dragon Yin Tuo stomped his feet, and his arm turned into a dragon. With a claw, he attacked Shun Ling Shuang directly. The heat wave in the dragon hall rose sharply, and sparks flew everywhere. When the Einer jar I was activated, brilliant divine light covered the pupils, and the opponent's movements became extremely slow. Shun Ling Shuang stepped out, and her 5 fingers grabbed the dragon's claw at lightning speed. She turned around in the air and threw it violently. Bang! The divine dragon landed on his back and was thrown out of the dragon hall. The ground cracked, and dragon scales appeared. Yin Tuo's dragon eyes were filled with disbelief. The moment his divine dragon power attacked again, it actually rebounded from the opponent's hand. Then, a fist wind that was mixed with the pure law of slaughter that was like a raging wave came charging at him. Shun Ling Shuang punched Yin Tuo violently and repeatedly. Her small and skinny figure hit the opponent out of its original body and sent it flying high into the sky. Yin Tuo turned into a dragon and attacked with his dragon claw. However, Shun Ling Shuang punched him instead, and blood flowed everywhere. Oh, flames shot everywhere, and the Red Lotus Dragon King sensed something. This human is something. With his experience, he could clearly see the changes in the battle. The opponent could actually counterattack the divine dragon power before it exploded. This made Yin Tuo's own power become a part of the power that hurt him. Or, after blocking Yin Tuo's attack, he could use the original power to counterattack the opponent. He had seen similar moves before, but it was the first time he saw such a move that was effective against a half-step divine king and above. Such a superb technique, If it was categorized according to the cultivation techniques of the human race, it would definitely be the legendary red level cultivation technique. Shunling Shuang, who was using the martial god step, stomped on Yintua's dragon back fiercely. Get down! The huge divine dragon fell from the sky instantly, and countless dragons were stunned. In less than 100 rounds, Yintua, who was second only to a few Grand Elders, was defeated. If the opponent was of the same level, it would be fine. However, the opponent was 2 levels lower than him. Even Lin Chen's doppelganger was surprised. How could this girl be so strong? The martial god master had personally taught Shen Lingshuang before. If others learned too many cultivation techniques, the quantity would affect the quality. However, the bloodline of the martial god would not. It was not enough to master a powerful killing move. She had to use the most suitable battle techniques and cultivation techniques at the most suitable timing to attack the opponent's weakness with her strong points. Shun Lingshuang casually swallowed a divine elixir to heal her minor burns. She landed on the ground and said indifferently, "Big guy from the dragon race, do you still want to fight?" Yintua intended to resist stubbornly, but the Dragon King raised his hand. "Enough. Outsiders, you have proven your strength." Red Lotus Dragon King glanced at Lin Chen. "Let's talk about the cooperation you mentioned." Lin Chen's doppelganger flicked his finger, and a wisp of fiery light entered Yintua's body. Red Lotus Dragon King squinted his eyes. "What did you shoot?" Lin Chen smiled. "I shot something good." "Wong, Wong, Wong. Ah, awesome." Yintua could not help but moan miserably like a dying camel. Fiery light shot out in all directions, and the red dragon, Qi, rose up into the sky. Yintua's aura actually increased by a lot. In addition, his bloodline suppression shocked everyone. He actually increased his bloodline grade on the spot. Activating the system transfer function. Consumed 80,000 deity heavenly Tao points, 300 million sacred strengthening points to complete the transfer of attributes to the target. Red Lotus Dragon King was completely shocked. His eyes narrowed. "What did you do?" Lin Shun smiled coquettishly. "I like to shoot first and talk later." Chapter 2063. Now, let's talk about cooperation. First, the reward I will provide is to help your bloodline upgrade. As long as I die, or if I want to take it back, I can take back your bloodline upgrade at any time. Second, I want you to be in charge of contacting the other dragons near this territory to cooperate with me and put on a show. The reward is bloodline upgrade. Third, you can also use some of your dragon race's inventory to exchange for the bloodline upgrade quota. I need a large amount of divine rank natural treasures to recover vitality. The quota is limited, first come, first serve. At this moment, the Red Lotus Flame Dragon race was completely boiling. Bloodline breakthrough. The reason why so many dragons stopped at the next realm was because the bloodline's grade limit limited their growth. Now that they could improve further, it was worth it to give up their wealth. Red Lotus Dragon King's eyes flashed with a trace of ruthlessness and greed. Then he immediately fell silent. If he killed this human brat, the bloodline upgrade he helped would disappear. Should he forcefully call him a dragon, kill him, and then analyze his secrets, gamble? Or Dragon King fell in a deep thought. Lin Chen's clone smiled without saying anything, taking everything in. This show was not just about the powerhouses of Realm C and Divine Realm. The dragon race was the same. Third Realm C, West Side. The sect master of Realm C's 9-Dragon Gate transformed his divine power into a dragon, flying swiftly in the sky. Behind him was a majestic troop, and there was a true god arranged for every several dozen zhong of space. The large troop crushed everything in their way. As long as there was any movement, at least several hundred true gods could gather in an instant. Several thousand true gods quickly gathered. 9-Dragon Gate's sect master shouted coldly, "Be 120% alert. We're about to enter the area where the mist is the thickest. Don't give that brat any chance." After the previous chaotic battle, 9-Dragon Gate's sect master knew that Lin Chen's group would definitely not clash head-on with Divine Realm's powerhouses. He would only pick on their Realm Seas forces because Lin Shun couldn't always be here. After the battle, their second Realm Seas forces would still have to develop on their own. Hence, the Realm Seas forces could be considered a pile of loose sand. Nine Dragon Gates' sect master naturally knew this logic, and vice versa, Lin Shun would very likely use them as a breakthrough point. Once encountered, they would have to beat him fiercely. Chi! Boom! A thunderous explosion came from afar, and a figure suddenly appeared on the desolate island. A silver-robed figure stepped on clouds and rode on heavenly light, shattering everyone's defenses with a single punch. Then, he pointed out with his finger, causing lightning and fire to burst forth. Two great laws burst forth from his fingertips, shooting out like fire dragons and lightning bolts, piercing through the defenses of more than a dozen true gods. His feet stomped fiercely on the ground, and his bloody afterimages expanded dramatically. He slanted his shoulder and pushed horizontally, shattering the defensive line of 5 level 6 true gods in one breath with the might of his laws. After receiving the message, the Nine Dragon Gates sect leader grinned evilly. Mother of Asterisker, you've finally shown yourself. Everyone, pay attention. This is most likely the real body. Fight to the death. Pay attention to the companions around him. The moment Lin Shun appeared, the Nine Dragon Gate and their subordinates immediately took action. Lin Shun charged straight in and broke through the line of defense. The situation started to change in an instant. The Nine Dragons Gate's troops quickly moved around Lin Shun, changing their formation. On the other side, Divine King Luo, who was dressed in a white robe, entered the area of the 3 islands shrouded in divine fog. Even with his Divine King cultivation, the range of perception he could sense in this area was no more than 3,000 meters. Divine King Luo said cautiously, "Be careful of this place. That brat is most likely..." Bang. Suddenly, a commotion came from behind. All the deities were like thorns stabbing into their backs. Lin Shun had appeared. Moreover, at the center of the Straight Snake formation, with Blazing Divine King leading the troops, the Divine Realm's true gods spread out in formation. The Straight Snake formation didn't completely cut off the western region of the Third Realm Sea, but pushing forward layer by layer, it was more than enough to cut off Lin Shun and the rest retreat area. And the 3 Divine Kings in the center of the formation were completely for the sake of providing assistance to all sides, making it easier for them to fight. Blazing Divine King was calm and composed as he strode forward. Even if he entered the area shrouded in divine fog, he still had absolute confidence. From a strategic point of view, Lin Shun's group definitely knows that our Divine Realms experts aren't easy to deal with. He can either retreat to the Second Realm Sea or look for the Realm Sea's forces to break through. In the vicinity of every Realm Sea's troop, there would be a Divine Realm troop. As long as the main body was confirmed, they could immediately rush to the rescue. They had dug a hole and were waiting for Lin Shun to jump in. One had to know that they weren't the only Divine Kings here for this operation. There are also hundreds of thousands of true gods. The deterrence of this force wasn't much lower than 10 Divine Kings. A beautiful woman in a peach blossom dress said with a faint smile, "We can be considered the main force of the formation. This Lin Shun wouldn't dare to provoke us." A black-robed old man with pupils like black moons said slowly, "Don't look down on this child. For someone who dares to declare war on the Divine Realm, as long as he still has a breath left, he will still be the most ferocious beast." Reporting to esteemed ones, the Left Realm Sea's 9 Dragon Gate troop suffered a surprise attack from Lin Shun. His identity hasn't been confirmed yet. Should we move? At this time, a lost sound transmission arrived. Blazing Divine King chatted cheerfully and wittily. "Look, this brat is anxious." Youngsters are youngsters in the end, unable to keep their cool. The beautiful woman in the peach blossom dress said with a smile, "It might be the main body." The black-robed old man said, "It might be a feint. Before confirming his identity, we should first send a small group to probe." Blazing Divine King flicked his sleeves and said with a confident smile, "Send the vanguard to take a look." Less than 2 breaths of time after the order was given, before Blazing Divine King had even recovered his wits, a terrifying sonic boom suddenly shook the heavens. Waves surged and divine wind swirled. A beam of divine light mixed with thunder shot straight at Blazing Divine King at the front like a divine arrow. The speed was ridiculously fast. Blazing Divine King barely managed to react. He instinctively raised his arms to block. Fire laws and yang laws intersected from his arms, forming a shield of light that blocked horizontally. The black-robed old man and the beautiful woman in the peach blossom dress subconsciously retreated. Bang! Lightning shot out for 10,000 zhong, flames burning everywhere. Blazing Divine King was caught off guard and sent flying by a kick. Torrential waves were stirred up, destroying several desolate islands along the way. Divine Wind? Dark blue armor? The beautiful woman in the peach blossom dress and the black-robed old man were completely stunned. That was the main body. But what kind of method was this? This Lin Shun, he didn't charge through the forces of Realm C and came to attack their main force. There were 40,000 true deities and 3 divine kings here. To put it bluntly, even if there were 4 divine kings at the same realm, they might not be able to charge through here. The black-robed old man was the first to react. He coldly scolded, "A fellow who walked right into our trap, no matter what kind of methods he has, quickly sent a message to the 2 closest groups. Tell them that Lin Chen's main body is here. Tell them to abandon everything and hurry over with the fastest speed possible." Crushing a huge wave, Blazing Divine King was sent flying by Lin Chen's flame flash. His entire body was corroded by the thunder laws until his hands and feet were numb. The corners of his mouth twitched. Lin Shun, who sent Blazing Divine King flying with a kick, didn't care about Blazing Divine King. He directly charged into Divine Realms group, his speed extremely fast. "Lin Shun, you dare touch this king? This is my main force. You are fucking courting death." Blazing Divine King's feet stepped on the void. Waves surged as he soared into the sky. The silver-robed old man laughed loudly. "This young master is attacking your main force." The brows of the various true deities trembled. This madman was truly crazy. Chapter 2064. After being ambushed by Lin Shun, the blazing God King roared, "Everyone, surround him and beat him up." The beautiful woman in the peach blossom dress and the black-robed old man controlled divine light. One controlled the law of wind to sweep past like a gale, while the other was surrounded by clouds and mist, turning into floating clouds. The law of clouds was like a heavenly mist covering the sky. Once touched, one would be trapped within. The 2 God Kings chased after Lin Shun. Unexpectedly, Lin Shun, who was flapping his wind god wings, suddenly turned around, and the 9-colored starlight converged like a vortex. The wind god armor wrapped around the surging divine wind, causing all of Lin Chen's attributes to soar wildly. He swung one hand, and the 9-colored starlight flashed through the void in an instant. He activated Instant Light Clone, and the 5 starlight revolved like a ring. It seemed very slow, but in the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of the 3 God Kings. The pupils of the 2 God Kings, who were in the midst of rushing, shrank. What kind of material was that set of his made of? It was one thing for his movement technique to be so abnormal, but how could his attacks be so ridiculously fast as well? Winged divine wind, dark tide covering the sky. Tornado-like divine wind appeared around the beautiful woman in the peach blossom dress, instantly transforming into a pair of divine wings that covered her body. The law of darkness erupted, perfectly fusing with the law of clouds to form an endless dark tide, sweeping up 1,000 feet tall law power, blocking in front of Lin Chen's 9 tribulation star. The blazing God King held his halberd in his hand, and like a yellow dragon, the halberd slashed open the bloody rainbow. 5 beams of 9-colored starlight turned into pillars of light that rose between heaven and earth. The 3 God Kings' laws rapidly disappeared, and the God Kings couldn't help but be shocked. This guy could actually unleash such an attack at the 4th level of the divine realm. Fortunately, there were 3 God Kings overseeing this place. Otherwise, any 1st-level God King wouldn't be able to escape unscathed if faced with this move alone. Even though Lin Shun had the complete Tai Heaven concealing art, after the mental cultivation method was strengthened, a killing move like the 9 Tribulation Star could only be used twice in a short period of time. In addition to the recovery ability of the Azure Sea of Stars, using it 3 times was already the limit. The 3 God Kings were shocked by the energy of the 9 Tribulation Star, and were even further suppressed, unable to move for a short period of time. However, Blazing God King immediately sneered. This brat, does he think that he'll be easy to fight just because he's in the middle of the group? In terms of difficulty, 40,000 true divinities from the divine realm were more difficult to deal with than any God King. Almost at the same time that the 9 Tribulation Star erupted, Lin Shun, who had streaked across the sky, was the first to meet the vanguard. Divine light that blotted out the sky and covered the moon floated in the horizon. Just the number of true gods in the vanguard exceeded 10,000 true gods. More than 80% of them were true gods who had grasped the laws. A level 9 true god shouted, "Let's attack together. Don't give him any chance." As soon as the sound was transmitted, Lin Shen's figure flickered like a star in the sky. He arrived in front of the deities with a speed that made their hair stand on end. Divine flames filled the sky. The wind god's greaves swept across the air like a guillotine. Lin Shun swung his leg in the air, creating a sky full of godly flames. Every single godly flame was like a shooting star, and they were surrounded by dark red lightning. Bang! 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 The vanguard was bombarded by a large amount of divine flame star rain until they were scattered. The scattered troops were like fireworks under the Milky Way. Because they were prepared in advance, most of the true gods were only pushed back or injured. Very few were killed in one move. Quantity caused a qualitative change. Even the current Lin Chen couldn't crush them. The King of Speed gave Lin Chen too much of an advantage. The suppression of speed allowed Lin Chen to seize the opportunity and break through the vanguard. Once he broke through the vanguard, what welcomed Lin Chen was the main force that had been adjusted. It wasn't the first time that the deities had come out. Everyone understood Lin Chen's intention at the same time. This guy only had himself by his side. There was a high chance that he wanted to break through alone. Since that was the case, they would surround him and beat him up. Endless divine light that was as vast as the sea shone with 9 lights and 10 colors. The deities stood in great numbers. They either grasped the laws, controlled the divine body, commanded the divine power, or enforced the law with their words. An attack that was like a tide of primordial energy swept over with an unstoppable momentum. This scene was like a miracle. Everywhere around Lin Shun, from the heavens to the earth, were true gods. All the true gods closed in on Lin Shun, mobilizing all their divine power to surround him and attack him fiercely. They wanted to crush him with their attacks. Lin Shun against 30,000 true gods. His fists were like dragons. His legs were like flood dragons. His finger techniques were continuous. His fists and palms were swift, and he used all his strength. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Shun shattered more and more attacks, but the attacks seemed to be endless as they bombarded the area around him. This was the absolute suppression of quantity. Lin Shun could rely on his speed to break up the formation of 10,000 true gods, but he was suppressed to death by 30,000 true gods. He was almost unable to hold on. In the next moment, Lin Shen's extreme wind god set was removed. A red light appeared around Lin Shun like a dancing divine dragon. It was the Taishi divine light. Lin Shun had drained all the power of the divine dragon's dragon veins to cast the Taishi divine light. But in the face of such an attack, it was completely insufficient. At most, it could only delay for half a breath. It was this half a breath time that brought Lin Chen a turning point. A pitch-black light, like a black light under the sea of stars, instantly appeared on Lin Chen's body. Host used Atlas War God parts. Left armor charge, 100%. Right armor charge, 100%. Lin Chen raised his right arm. The Atlas right armor shone brightly, and the black light around his body strengthened. Lin Chen was as immovable as a mountain. He transformed into an ancient giant that could hold up the heavens and split the earth. Bang, bang, bang. Countless attacks landed on Lin Chen's body, shaking his mind. The Atlas War God two-piece set's charge dropped at a speed visible to the naked eye. 99%, 70%, 40%. The speed of the charge dropping was simply terrifying. This was the combined attack of 30,000 true gods. The moment he used the Atlas War God set, Lin Chen's divine spirit went berserk, and he had long been ready to attack. "Open fire on me!" The roar was like a dragon's roar, and the rolling dragon's roar shook the heavens and earth. Then from the east, west, and south, flames rose, and the sound of killing shook the heavens. At that moment, the hearts of the tens of thousands of true gods in divine jade palpitated, and a cold light pierced their backs. Something was wrong. They had fallen into a trap. Lin Chen was not alone. Boom, boom, boom. Attacks from all directions, evading the heavens and flashing the earth. There were primordial ultimate sword techniques, saber techniques, and peerlessly domineering fist techniques. There were crafty and fierce spear techniques, and so on. 1,000 types of laws and hundreds of ultimate techniques bombarded over with an all-destroying momentum. Because of the previous joint attack on Lin Chen to prevent him from escaping, the 30,000 true gods were too close to Lin Chen, forming an encirclement. And now, they were surrounded again. 30,000 true gods surrounded Lin Chen, and the attacks from behind surrounded them. The most serious problem was that they had just attacked Lin Chen with all their strength. Right now, they were lacking in divine power after using their moves. To suddenly be attacked was simply taking advantage of your exhaustion to take your life. When Blazing God King saw the battle in the distance, he was nearly dumbfounded. There's even such a way of fighting. Is this Lin Chen not afraid of death? In such a way of fighting, Lin Chen was also sacrificing himself to kill 1,000 enemies. His main body was at the center of the all-around attack. Hurricanes wildly rolled, and waves surged to the heavens. Within the range of the three islands, the sky was completely overturned. In the sky, a sea of true gods were shot down. When the three god kings finally crushed the offensive of the 9 Tribulation Star, they witnessed the chaotic battlefield with their own eyes. Ha ha! Brothers, kill with all your might. They're all lackeys of the divine realm. Killing one is a huge profit. Mother Fastra's cur, I'm killing divine realm dogs. Even if my sword is broken, my halberd is broken, my divine body withered away. Even if I have a wisp of my divine soul left, I'll still use my divine soul to smash them apart. The flames of war filled the sky. An iron-blooded squad charged out of the sea, soaring into the world. The east wind blew, and fierce songs howled. At this moment, even someone as strong as a god king could not help but be aghast. This was a squad that did not fear ghosts or gods. They bathed in a downpour of blood, slaughtering their way out of the flames of war. The 9 heavens and 10 earths seemed to be filled with their tall and mighty figures. Even if it was the divine realm, it could not crush their backs. At the center of the squad was a silver-robed youth stained with the blood of countless gods. He stepped on the air, holding a golden divine spear in his hand. He walked step by step in front of the 3 god kings, smiling coldly. No one in the squad plans on leaving alive. His resolute spirit made the 3 god kings' hair stand on end. Chapter 2065. The battle situation could be said to be changing rapidly. 40,000 true gods, 10,000 true gods were temporarily scattered by Lin Shun. 30,000 true gods besieged Lin Shun, causing them to be counterattacked. In this extremely short period of time, more than 2,000 true gods from the divine realm had fallen, and more than 70% of the experts were injured. This was an instant kill caused by fighting those of a higher realm. It could be seen how great the effect of this surprise attack was. It even scattered the enemy's formation. Blade light flashed, flames rushed into the sky, and laws of great Tao rumbled as they fell into the critical sea, crazily colliding together. Lin Shen's two great phantom doppelgangers rushed out from the troops, leading 2,000 true gods to kill all the true gods of the divine realm fearlessly. Relying on 2,000 true gods' battle power was definitely not enough. In this surprise attack, Lin Shen's two great phantom doppelgangers participated in the battle. Those above the 8th level of the divine realm were in charge of Lin Shen's phantom doppelgangers. The 6 phantom doppelgangers all appeared. 2 doppelgangers were scattered on the left and right sides of the battlefield. 2 doppelgangers assisted a team to rush into the battlefield. 1 doppelganger was in the Dragon Clan's territory, and the last one assisted Yi Qing Wu to delay the green-haired Divine King. Lin Shen's layers of net were unfolded. Damn it, what big guts! I want to see how fearless these people are. Their realm is low, and their numbers are more than 10. 1. With Lin Shen's 2 doppelgangers, I don't believe they can defy the heavens. The gods of the divine realm began to regroup. They mobilized their divine power, and the laws of the 3,000 great Daos appeared. Even if the people of the divine realm were injured, the difference in realm, numbers, and battle power was obvious. Under the suppression of absolute power and numbers, the gods of the divine realm didn't believe a little trick could let them turn the situation around. 40,000 against 4,000. They could cripple them with their eyes closed. The chaotic battle became more and more intense, alarming even more forces in the Third Realm Sea. Which force is fighting here? The battle of gods. There are at least 30,000 remnant power of laws. Who has such wealth? Retreat. It's the people of the divine realm. Don't get involved. I want to go in and pick up the scraps. Some hidden realm sea powers silently appeared, some even joining the battle, making the battle even more chaotic. However, most people instead chose to sneak attack realm sea's true deities, actually miraculously lessening the pressure on this team. The purple-robed middle-aged man who was charging beside the illusory clone was called Fong Wuchen. He was at the 7th tier of the divine realm. With a cold shout from him, everyone's morale was greatly boosted. Sure enough, as he expected, Realm C's vicious and evil people wouldn't ignore this chaotic battle and would definitely join in. War was the fastest way to get rich. Why would the true gods of the Third Realm target the people of the Divine Realm? This multiple-choice question was not difficult. Let's ask if a rich and injured true god or a poor and desperate true god were placed in front of you. Who would you choose? Of course, he would choose the former. This was one of the goals of Lin Shun and the others this time, to fight 1 against 3. Calm down. Just a group of bandits from Realm C. How can they compare to our Divine Realm's backing? No one is allowed to take a step back. Those who do will be killed. To the right. All of you gather to the right and cover Heavenly God Wind Fire's 2 teams to eliminate Lin Shen's people. Don't give them a chance to break out. The Divine Realm's people displayed superb backing and mobility. They were indeed different from the allied Realm sea powers. In a dozen breaths of time, more than 3,000 true gods at the 4th tier of perfection and above gathered. 40 true gods led the team and charged toward Lin Shen's illusory clone in one breath. Lin Shen's illusory clone immediately fell into the encirclement of many divine realm 9th tiers. With the clone's unrivaled battle prowess under half-step Divine King, he also couldn't easily break free. However, right when the main force had just shifted over. Rumble. Sword light crisscrossed for 3,000 feet. A sword light chilling the middle of the sea. Another team suddenly charged out, actually charging out from the left side of the divine realm. The sudden change made the dozens of true gods think that reinforcements had arrived, overjoyed. Chi! Bang! The sword light split mountains and broke waves. The sword intent of Sword Tao laws was pure and fierce, cutting apart 1,000 feet of raging waves, cutting apart dozens of divine realm true gods. What method is this? Damn it, it's not Realm C's people. It's fucking coming for us. The divine realm true gods were greatly shocked. Bang! 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 Violent gales raged. The first team's azure-clothed sword god Jiangfan held an azure divine sword, stepped on brilliant sword light, and charged over with an unstoppable speed. Following behind him were thousands of true gods. Suddenly, they charged over from the right side of the divine realm, and with an aura that didn't fear death, they instantly disrupted the divine realm true gods that were on the other side of the realm sea. The main force of 40,000 true gods had just turned to the right side, and a divine army descended from the sky on the left side. This was definitely not a coincidence. Jiang Fan held his sword and killed the enemy, his expression excited. It is indeed as Lin Chun predicted. This battle is worth fighting. Why would a divine army descend from the sky and appear on the left side of the battlefield? Time passed slightly, returning to before the battle, inside Cloud Scale Island. The forces of the Realm Sea's vassals seem weak, but in reality, there are divine realm troops all around protecting them. Attacking the main force is our only choice. Lin Shen raised 3 fingers and said in a deep voice, "First, with the enemy's formation advancing layer by layer, only the divine kings of the main force will inevitably enter the range of the 3 islands. With the divine mist around the 3 islands as cover, I will lead the charge, and you all will fire at me, catch them off guard. Second, I have 2 clones for battle, and only 2 clones to distract the enemy's attention, one to the left side, one to the right side. The left side is outside Cloud Scale Island. The divine mist is the thickest, and the range of perception is limited. The enemy's movement speed will definitely not be as fast as normal, so we have to buy as much time as possible. Third, the right side is the Realm Sea's forces. If we charge straight into the main force, the Realm Sea's reinforcements will definitely not be active because the main contribution in taking us down will not be theirs. The left side is blocked by the divine mist. The right side's reinforcements will be passive. No matter which side changes, we will have the space to block the enemy and the longest battle time we can fight for. The first team was divided into 3 forces. The center team only needed to charge with Lin Chun. The right team would launch a sneak attack, and the left team would launch a sneak attack. Everyone was suddenly enlightened, clapping their hands in praise. Once the battle began, the situation would most likely change. The right team would only receive the news of reinforcements after a long time, together with the divine misobstruction preventing them from providing reinforcements. The left side's Realm Sea's reinforcements would not be active. Of course, the Realm Sea's vassals would not be active. Mother Asterisker, you all are one of the main forces of Divine Realm. We're going to provide reinforcements? Are the lives of my subordinates not lives? After fighting Lin Chun, I still have to hang around in Realm C. My subordinates will be used to provide reinforcements. The main contribution will be yours. I will fight you all if I don't get any benefits. It was just like spending money to buy a real estate. And in the end, Divine Realm became the old man next door entering the bridal chamber. Any normal person wouldn't risk their lives to fight against them. Realm C would only wait until the battle was more or less over before slowly coming over to pick up some achievements. This way, the enemy Divine Realm's main forces wouldn't be able to provide reinforcements for a short period of time. This was much better than fighting an ordinary Realm C team, and then being surrounded by 4 Divine Kings. Lin Chun attacking the main forces looked like a reckless move, but in reality, he was stepping on the enemy's weak spot. Remember, this matter can only be known by a small portion of us. This is a battle between true deities and also a challenge above our level. If we don't fight with our lives on the line, our strategic intentions will inevitably be exposed. The order you all need to pass on to everyone is, this time, we're going to fight to the death with them. After we break out of the encirclement, we will then tell everyone about our retreat plan. The order Lin Chen gave everyone was to tell everyone that this time, we're going to fight Divine Realm's main forces, destroy Jade and Common Stone. Otherwise, it would be easy for their true intentions to be exposed during the battle. When Jiang Fan's team appeared before Divine Realm could adjust, the right team fired another arrow light. Shouts of killing shook the heavens. Another 1,000 True Deity team suddenly launched a surprise attack. The battle situation directly became a complete mess. Divine Realm's deities were completely stupefied. When this scene entered their eyes, the three great Divine Kings' expressions became incomparably gloomy. 2 detours? All of them were Lin Chen's people? What the hell were our people doing? You damn Lin Chen. With just this few people, you still managed to play around. Chapter 2066. Two Whirl Mountain. A bright sword light flashed across the sky, and the sword whistled in the sky. Lin Xingchen's golden eyes flowed with endless sword light. He carried a sword with 5 colored clouds on his back as he slowly stepped out of the void. Beside him floated a little girl in red. Her lips were red, her eyes were bright, and her skin was whiter than snow. She had an aura of vicissitudes that was completely different from the girl's. Lin Xingchen had finally come out on his master's orders. This time, anyone who stood in his way, even a divine king, would have to die. Xingchen, your bloodline is nearing its peak. In less than 2 years, you've already reached the peak of the 4th level of the divine realm. The situation outside is constantly changing. Just in case, I'll let you come out early. Go to the Lin family now and take over the Lin family. Also, the supreme desolation galaxy of the divine wilderness will open soon. After you take over the Lin family, immediately lead the Lin family back to the divine realm and command the divine race with my orders. Lead the divine race's troops and kill your way to the supreme desolation galaxy. I will take care of everything in secret for you. Lin Xingchen's lips curled up as the girl in red transmitted her voice. The power of the world is in my hands. And him, that impostor, Lin Chen, that man must die in his hands. Divine realm, vast sea. The sea of clouds surged, space stagnated, and time seemed to flow extremely slowly. In the sea stood a divine palace that had never changed. There were 3 people in the palace. One was an old man in green with eyebrows like an eagle and white hair on his temples. Another was dressed like ice and snow with stars twinkling. Her cheeks were beautiful, her temperament was cold, and her eyes were filled with killing intent. The last one wore a black robe. His body couldn't be seen, and only a pair of ghostly fire-like eyes could be seen. In front of the 3 of them, there was a chessboard with 4 different colors on it. On the chessboard, the black and white pieces were intricate. Only a few scattered red dots were slightly dazzling, like lonely sails on the vast sea. The old man in green put down the black piece and approached the red one. The generals of the past are still alive. The beauty in the ice dress flicked her finger and the white piece settled. How can a mere wave overturn the vast sea? Even someone as strong as Lin Tiandi was suppressed by the 3 supremes. The remaining stragglers are about to be defeated by the divine race. The strange man in the black cloak curled his lips and sneered. Suppress? A strand of heavenly Emperor Lin's soul managed to injure 2 god emperors. If they were at their peak, the 3 of them wouldn't be able to come out with their true bodies. The green-robed old man gave him a sideways glance. Put away your sarcasm. You were able to sit in this position because of the 3 Supremes' nurturing. I reached this position on my own, the black-robed man said coldly. Without me, without my master, how could the 3 god clans be where they are today? Enough. The beauty in the ice dress raised her hand. Today, we are here to discuss the matter of the 5 continents, not for you to argue. The old man in green said Lin Shun wanted to overcompensate, so he insisted on exchanging a beam for a pillar. A faint crimson light appeared in the pair of eyes that seemed to contain the rotation of the sun and moon. The azure-robed old man said indifferently, "It has been decided. We will restore all the achievements of the divine arts. Furthermore, we will increase the number of people who can enter the divine realm. Let a group of shackled people stand in front of the stage and attract the attention of everyone below. Regardless of jealousy, malice, or anger, they will only focus on the person in front of the stage." The azure-robed man raised his chest piece, and the black piece swallowed the red piece. When it comes to the Tai Sky technique, our god clan is much more familiar with it than Lin Shun. For the first time, the beauty in the ice dress smiled. "Elder Jun and I have the same opinion." Suddenly, the black-robed man stood up. He laughed strangely. "A mere ant is not worth mentioning. Today, I am not here to discuss such a small figure with you. I am here to inform you of something. Our god clan is about to welcome a new leader." Bang! The azure-robed old man smashed the chessboard with his palm. His seemingly calm expression was brewing with a fury that could swallow the heavens and devour the earth. "A new leader? It seems that you're seeking death. Apart from the three supremes, who dares to call themselves a leader?" The beauty in the ice dress looked at him coldly, as if waiting for an answer. The black-robed man spread his arms. "The era is about to change. He will change the divine realm. The number one in the master god world, Lin Xingqian." Their expressions changed greatly. Lin Xingqian? Third Realm Sea, 3 Islands battlefield. God's blood splattered everywhere, and the bloody smell filled with divinity engulfed the surface of the sea. This battle was unprecedented. Even in the Third Realm Sea, there had never been so many true gods fighting. It was even rarer than a battle between divine kings. Even though Lin Shun had hundreds of tricks up his sleeves and had his phantom doppelganger leading the team, the 1-to-10 disadvantage was gradually revealed in the prolonged battle. In the beginning, they were still able to take the initiative, but the battle situation was gradually becoming equal. However, victory and defeat would also be decided in the high-dimensional battlefield. The forces belonging to the Third Realm Sea were still observing. As there were still 3 divine kings in the divine realm, some forces did not dare to be too presumptuous and plunder the gods in the divine realm. On the other hand, if the 3 divine kings suffered irreparable losses, there would be even more realm sea experts joining the battle. The golden battle god set is continuously increasing the host power. 110 million desolate power, 120 million, 130 million. The host has received 4 billion divine essences, 120,000 high-grade set essences, 50,000 divine heavenly path points, 2 billion divine chi points. Clang, clang. The spear and halberd surged, emitting divine light. Lightning and fire intersected, releasing lightning and fire like thunder snakes. Lin Shun wore the battle god set and stepped on golden light. The battle god spear was like a wild dragon, stabbing and slashing as it fought against the blazing god king's superb halberd technique. The beautiful woman in the peach dress flicked her finger, and her divine power turned into a dragon. The cloud dragon spat out fog, and clouds shrouded Lin Shun. The black-robed old man put his palms together, and a huge black blade appeared above his head. It slashed down violently, releasing endless divine power from the law of darkness into the cloud dragon's divine fog. The blazing god king seemed to have a telepathic connection. He flicked his halberd away and retreated rapidly. Lin Shun was instantly shrouded in dark clouds. The dark clouds turned into poisonous snakes that locked onto Lin Shun. The 2 great laws were like maggots that wrapped around Lin Chen's body, making it impossible for him to use his divine power. The golden light of the battle god seemed to have sunk into a quagmire. It was restricted by the 2 great laws and was unable to break free. When god kings worked together, they were especially powerful. Lin Shen didn't have the God Slayer, God-defying, or ultimate heaven-defying. Even if he used the battle god set, he wouldn't be able to display the strength of Pantheon Island. With the trump cards of the golden battle god set and the godhead, he still had a chance of winning against 2 god kings. But if you had to face 3 god kings, it would be full of variables. Without an ultimate heaven-defying, none of the god kings that stood at the peak of Pantheon Island could be underestimated. Still not playing by the rules? This king will blast you to death, you little bastard. I'll let you deliver yourself to me. The blazing god king grinned maliciously. He raised his halberd and slashed down. That halberd split the heavens and earth. The halberd's blade slashed out 3 blood moon-like divine lights, their sharpness soaring into the sky. Everywhere they passed, space would sizzle and burn with intense flames. The blazing god king's famous ultimate skill, low-level crimson battle skill, blazing god 3 arts. Even if the heavenly emperor came, we still have to pluck a few of his hairs first. Kings, nobles, generals, and ministers all had their own kind. Chapter 2067. Bang! Lin Shen's war god spear swung down and smashed on the blazing god king's head, forcing him to block with his halberd. It was also at this moment that Lin Shen created an opening for the 4 to take advantage of. Everyone endured the pressure of the god king, and just by getting close to him, their god bones creaked as if they were about to be crushed by a heavy object. The dark red blade looked like it was bathed in blood, and the supreme grade divine tool Blood Knight slashed open a bloody line. Sky Slash. Yuan Wujue gave it his all and slashed at blazing god king's shoulder. With the sharpness of a supreme grade divine tool, he slashed open blazing god king's last line of defense, and god blood flowed out. Divine radiance condensed like a spiral, and the light of the arrow expanded. Tang Jianghai drew his bow and shot at blazing god king's heart. The sea of stars stirred, and a sword light appeared in the dazzling starlight, piercing straight at blazing god king. Lu Qixin fought with his life on the line, and blood flowed out from his hands as he slashed at blazing god king's head. With Yuan Wujue in the lead, the 3 of them unleashed an attack that soared into the sky, burning away everything in their lives. The ripping sounds were like venomous snakes slithering around, causing the scalps of countless experts to turn numb. When everyone regained their senses, their mouths were slightly agape, and cold sweat flowed down their backs. Blazing God King's body was torn into pieces, and god blood gushed out from his right shoulder. The divine bone in his heart cracked, and his flesh was torn apart. The most terrifying thing was that Lu Qixin's blade had left a bowl-sized wound on his neck. 2 8th-level God Realm experts, 1 7th-level God Realm expert, and 1 6th-level God Realm expert. The 4 of them had almost killed the God King. Lin Chun exerted strength inch by inch, and the fire dragon-like laws of fire burned brightly. The tip of the spear pressed down, and blazing God King's laws crumbled bit by bit. His god blood spurted out, and even the god power protecting his body was no longer there. In the next moment, Lin Chun suddenly abandoned his spear and rushed forward. His divine fist shone with golden light as he punched at blazing God King's heart. A violent wind blew, and the aftershock of the fist was like an explosion. Blazing God King's halberd fell from his hand. He didn't even give blazing God King a chance to self-destruct. Lin Chen's fists were like a torrential downpour, his fists piercing into flesh as he hammered his way through. Blazing God King's divine body exploded inch by inch, causing the world to fall into a rain of blood. God blood splattered everywhere. The drops of God blood carried a hint of gold within them as they flickered with the radiance of a divine king. They were pure and flawless, and they contained the heavenly might of Allah's. They were like balls of shattered stars that bloomed into nebulas. The corners of countless people's mouths trembled. There were a few old monsters that realized what this meant. Even for Lin Chun, this was the first time he had seen such a scene. That was the blood essence of a divine king, and it had been beaten out alive. Lin Shun had never seen the ultimate heaven-defying talent that could break through defenses and kill instantly. I was actually ambushed by these small fries. Damn it, damn it. Blazing God King roared with regret in his heart. He, who had just used his full strength to deal with Lin Shun, was dodged by Lin Shen's Grand Universe Flash, causing his attention to be completely focused on Lin Shen. He didn't even notice that someone was approaching him. He had the body of a divine king, and even a 9th-level divine realm expert was nothing in front of him. Who would have thought that this group of lunatics would risk their lives to get close to him? Golden radiance flashed continuously as Lin Shen's fists were like the roar of a dragon. He waved his fists furiously and punched again and again, without any intention of relaxing. This guy is a divine king. I can't underestimate him. I don't have the instant kill of an ultimate heaven-defying, so I have to beat him to death. Lin Shen's eyes shone with a fierce light. Under everyone's dumbfounded gazes, he chased after Blazing God King. Kacha! Bang! Blazing God King's divine body was smashed into pieces and exploded. Even his divine soul was like an exploding firework that bloomed in the sky. He was shattered alive by Lin Shun. The divine king is dead? This little brat actually killed a divine king. My God, this is the first time I've seen someone crazier than me. What realm are these 4 guys at? To actually dare cut down a divine king. Can't afford to provoke. I've confirmed with my eyes, this group of lunatics can't be provoked. The powerhouses that picked up scraps in the 3rd realm felt chills run down their spines. They even subconsciously distanced themselves from Lin Shen's team. When the divine realm's deities witnessed this scene of Blazing God King's demise, their confidence suffered an even greater blow. The difference in numbers was 10-1, plus 3 divine kings. Just this level of lineup actually still let the other party finish off a divine king? The seemingly long process actually only happened in less than 3 breaths. The moment the 2 divine kings broke free of the divine guide enchantment, Lin Shen stomped on the sea surface, stirring up layers of sea waves, stabilizing his figure. He was panting heavily, but the fighting spirit in his eyes was high, and he was overjoyed. This result, even he did not expect it either. A divine king was not so easy to kill. If not for Yuan Wujue, Lu Qixin, and the others risking their lives to create an opportunity, Lin Shun would at most seriously injure him, and the 2 divine kings would have to break free. He did not have many divine realm heavenly Dao points left, and the number of times divine guide could be activated was already limited. If he let the 3 divine kings join forces, there would not be many opportunities left. It could be said that Yuan Wujue and the other 3 risked their lives to sneak in, creating an opportunity for Lin Shun to reverse the outcome. Lin Shen quickly collected all the attribute light balls. Congratulations, host, for killing a divine king. Obtained 18. 9 billion divine realm essence, 11 billion divine realm chi and blood, 900 million divine realm rune energy, 30 million divine realm heaven Dao points, 500 million divine realm fire attribute points, 80 million divine realm talent points. Obtained odd crystal divine treasure chest. Divine odd crystal blazing flame. Obtained set treasure chest. Open to obtain. Atlas God equipment, the left vambrace. This is the first time host has killed a divine king in a non-ultimate heaven-defying state. Additional reward. Highest talent treasure chest. Highest talent treasure chest. Open to obtain. Crimson talent fragment 1/20th. Crimson talent fragment. Lin Shen could not help but be moved. The ultimate heaven-defying, known as the strongest orange talent, could break through defenses and kill instantly. Then, what was the concept of a higher crimson talent fragment? With the replenishment of his divine realm heavenly Dao points, although Lin Shun was injured, he had a greater chance of breaking through. Most importantly, there were only 2 divine kings left. 2 divine kings working together and 3 divine kings working together are 2 completely different levels of battle. Now, it won't be that easy for them to suppress me. The corners of Lin Shen's mouth lifted slightly. He instantly removed the war god set, and the ultimate wind god reappeared. Lin Shen raised his hand, and divine wind rose. With a single grab, the blazing divine king's supreme grade divine weapon, blazing divine halberd, was bound by his divine wind. Lin Shen did not even turn his head. He laughed and said, "Everyone, well done. When we return, I will record this as a great merit." Yuan Wujue and the others quickly retreated. Tang Jianghai's expression was solemn. "Are you all right?" Lu Qixin's arms were covered in blood. His saber-wielding right arm was bent at a strange angle, and the bones in his arm were nearly broken. The middle-grade divine weapon's edge had even hit the edge of the blade. A divine king was revered as the peak of all gods. Their divine might was vast and mighty, and ordinary true gods would find it extremely difficult to approach them. Lu Qixin had even slashed the divine king's neck, but he had not died. From this, one could see how powerful a divine king's body was. If a true god wanted to kill a divine king, it would be extremely difficult unless they made up for it with quality. Lu Qixin grinned. No problem. To be able to kill a divine king, it was worth it. His spirit was like a polished boulder. This battle had been an extraordinary tempering and baptism for the four of them. Tang Jianghai felt as if a heavy burden had been lifted from her shoulders. A smile appeared on her lips, but she quickly retracted it. "Let's withdraw first. Leave this place to Lin Shen." Laws rose up. Two figures stood opposite of Lin Shen. The beautiful woman in the peach blossom dress and the black-robed old man's eyes were deep and gloomy. The blazing divine king had fallen. With only the two of them left, the battle against Lin Shen would be filled with variables. Moreover, before their reinforcements arrived, Lin Shen and the others would break out of the encirclement. This was the most troublesome matter. Chapter 2068. Outside the Three Islands, some supergiants of the Third Realm Sea had already detected this great battle. There were even divine kings who were aware of this battle. A gray-clothed old woman sucked in a cold breath. So young, actually killed a divine king. A black-armored divine king stood outside the Three Islands, looking at the battle with a special secret art. I didn't expect that the human race actually produced such a tough character. It's best if we don't interfere in this battle. It's not worth offending or supporting any side. Remember his name? Lin Shen. Everyone present in the Realm Sea. Whoever helps my divine realm take down Lin Shen, this old man will reward 500,000 middle-grade divine jades and a high-grade divine artifact. The black-robed old man immediately made a decision, appealing to the forces of the Third Realm Sea with great rewards. Who knew that no one paid attention to him at all? The forces of the Third Realm Sea were addicted to robbing the deities of the divine realm, unable to extricate themselves. Only fools would pay attention to him. Although 500,000 middle-grade divine jades were tempting, Lin Shen's battle prowess that killed a divine king, everyone saw it for themselves. Moreover, he still had so many fierce generals by his side. Who would be stupid enough to provoke this kind of lunatic? Secretly refining the divine jades and mobilizing the undying divine spark, Lin Shen said with a mocking smile, "Don't shout. With your price, even a chicken won't come. Not everyone can be like me to your god's domain and keep their promises." Seeing Lin Shen stall for time, the beautiful woman in the peach dress could not ask for anything more. She raised her eyebrows. "Oh, to what extent do you keep your promise to my divine realm?" Lin Shen smiled slightly. "What you ask for must be tough." The beautiful woman in the peach dress hummed. As his divine soul revolved, starlight shot out in all directions. A sea of divine power seemed to contain the four seas, refining into Lin Shen's body. His divine power recovered a large portion again, but at the same time, Lin Shen's divine soul was nearly consumed by 2/3. Rumble. Divine wind swept up, divine wings flapped. Lin Shen turned into a streak of dark green divine light, instantly flashing toward the two kings. Clouds and mist danced in the sky, and a heavy downpour instantly arrived. The dark tide of shadows covered the sky, and a sharp sword light was hidden within it. The law of slicing was like a sharp blade attached to the dark tide. This time, the two of them didn't hold back in the slightest, and they attacked with all their might. Once this kid defeated or injured any one of them, there would be no suspense in this battle. Based on this boy's speed, a divine king could not stop him. However, in the next moment, the two kings' pupils shrank, and the nine-colored starlight overflowed with a destructive aura. It split into five and shot toward the two kings. This move can still be used. Mother Faster's Cur, this brat is really good at hiding. The nine tribulation star in his palm suddenly flung out. 5 beams of nine-colored starlight shot toward the two great divine kings at a godly speed that was 1,000 times faster than the speed of all attributes. At the same time, Lin Shen used his soul to transmit a message to the entire battlefield. Everyone, listen up. Prepare to break out of the encirclement and head west. The two kings' hearts shook violently, but Lin Shen's nine tribulation star, supported by the extreme wind god set, didn't give them a chance to dodge at all. With a flap of the wind god wings, Lin Shen suddenly changed directions. The nine tribulation star, which was as bright as a polar star, bloomed into 5 extremely gorgeous nine-colored light pillars. The light pillars pierced through heaven and earth, and the sea surface stirred. The 5 light pillars were like 5-pointed stars, trapping the two kings in the middle. Lin Shen sent a flame flash through the air, sending a few ninth-stage divine realm experts flying in succession, breaking out of the encirclement with an unstoppable momentum. A ninth-stage divine realm expert, who was stepping on a crane, shouted angrily, "Block them! Block them even if you die!" The dragon-robed true god, whose eyes flickered with dragon shadow, shouted coldly, "They're already at the end of their rope. In a protracted battle, they're not our match at all. Drag them out, drag them out. Head west, all of you head west. Block these bastards, even if you have to risk your lives. If we let them retreat today, it'll be a great humiliation to us. We won't have the face to face the lords who awarded us the merits." The Divine Realms team erupted with surging, killing intent. With a flame flash and a punch that split open the sky, and a divine wind that roared furiously, Lin Shen swept through everything in his path. He was unstoppable. Lin Shen's illusory doppelganger was also heading west to assist his main body. And with thousands, tens of thousands, 20,000, more and more true gods approached the west. Putting aside the true gods who were entangled by the forces of the Triple Realm Sea, almost all of the main forces were approaching the west. Right at the moment when the Divine Realm's true gods were moving, a team that pretended to break out of the encirclement in the west suddenly gathered, and suddenly turned around to break out of the encirclement in the east. Don't care about them. Take down Lin Shen first. The law transmitted sound. Even more true gods ignored Lin Shen's team and surrounded Lin Shen. Their target was still Lin Shen from beginning to end. This led to the east, where the defensive power was weak, being broken through in one breath. When the Divine Realm's true gods came back to their senses, a team had already charged out several hundred miles. What's going on? The Divine Realm's true gods were dumbfounded. They abandoned Lin Shen and left? No, that's not right. It was a diversion. It was another feint followed by immediate movement. Bang! Lin Shen destroyed the realm with one kick. His attributes were boosted by 2,000 times. His 2 great laws surged. Lightning and fire intersected, and in a flash, Lin Shen and his doppelganger blasted open the encirclement. Lin Shen, love to show off my movements the most. Lin Shen grinned and snapped his fingers. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Divine light fell chaotically, and 2 more doppelganger descended. Consumed 240 million points of God-level rune energy. Level 10 Phantom rune used. Phantom doppelganger activated. A total of 4 doppelganger gathered around Lin Shen. Previously, He had sent two doppelganger to lure the true gods on the left and right. Now, they already knew the location of the main body and were approaching here. Then, the doppelganger that was used as bait could naturally withdraw. Then, transformed into combat power, Lin Shen's four doppelganger charged fearlessly into the chaotic battlefield. His four doppelganger, which was invincible among those below the half-step God King level, blocked a large number of true gods from the God realm. Whoosh! With a sonic boom and divine wind, Lin Shen transformed into a divine wind and swept across the sky. At this moment, the nine tribulations' stars' light beam shattered. Two God Kings broke out of the encirclement and chased after Lin Shen. However, Lin Shen seemed to have expected this. He smiled and pushed his hands in the air. Consumed vitality. Host activated divine elephant godhead. Consumed 9 million god-level heavenly Tao points. Host activated God summoning barrier. A divine elephant rushed out from his left palm, and a dark black light from his right palm sealed the sky. The God summoning barrier isolated the sky. Rumble. With a flap of his divine wings, Lin Shen transformed into a streak of divine light and whistled through the air with endless divine wind. The four doppelganger and the power of two godheads had completed the mission of covering the retreat for him and his team. Damn it. Mother of Asterisker. How can we let him escape? 40,000 true gods can't even catch Lin Shen. What are you all doing? The God Realm's team was in complete chaos. After the two God Kings destroyed the divine elephant stampede and God summoning barrier respectively, Lin Shen had already disappeared without a trace. The two God Kings' expressions were gloomy. If they were in the outside world, they could definitely chase after him. Even if Lin Shen ran fast, his team would not be able to outrun the God Kings. However, it was different in the Third Realm Sea. In the Third Realm Sea, the God Kings could not travel through the void, and the range of their perception was also very limited. Once Lin Shen and his team broke out of the encirclement, they were like dragons returning to the sea. I don't believe that Lin Shen can overturn the heavens. After the battle with the blazing God King, he is already an arrow at the end of its flight. Inform the other God Kings to pursue and surround him. This battle will not end until one of us dies. The two God Kings roared their orders. Team 1 had completed the most important mission of breaking out of the encirclement. Riding the wind and breaking through the waves, Lin Shen, who had broken out of the encirclement, caught up to Team 1 without stopping at all. His eyes gazed into the distance, and he exhaled lightly. Next, it is time to display my skills and decide the outcome. All the preparations that he had buried before were all for this moment, to be released in one breath. Chapter 2069. Lin Shen, who had caught up with the team, looked at Jiang Fan and Yuan Wujue and asked in a deep voice, "How many of us are injured?" Yuan Wujue said, "All of them are injured. More than 1,000 of them are seriously injured. We lost 300 people. Some of the warriors directly self-destructed in order to give us a chance to break out." Jiang Fan sighed. "They're all good. Not a single one of them chose to retreat. This time, with such a huge disparity in strength, we still managed to kill 8,000 of them, killing 8,000 true gods and one God King. With such a huge disparity in strength, they were still able to achieve such a glorious result. It was truly a struggle for survival in the midst of death. Those who were able to survive this battle, whether it was their state of mind or their cultivation, would be greatly tempered. It would far surpass the benefits obtained from cultivating in seclusion. Lin Shen said, "We can't stop. Everyone, head to the Dark Star Sea Domain at full speed." While carrying their injuries, everyone refined divine jades and swallowed elixirs as they rushed towards the Dark Star Sea Domain. Lin Shen looked behind him. The doppelgangers were destroyed so quickly. The two God Kings are indeed not weak. Consumed 600 million divine rune energy. Doppelganger has appeared at the position of the sixth doppelganger. Remaining rune energy, 560 million. With a thought, Lin Shun used the doppelganger rune again. 4 doppelgangers appeared. However, this time, the doppelgangers did not appear beside Lin Shun. Instead, they appeared beside Yi Qingwu, Witheredwood Island. Rumble. Like a flaming dragon, divine flames filled the sky, and dark red lightning swept towards the green-haired God King. Suddenly, there are 4 more Lin Shun? Where did this magic trick come from? Give this old man one too. The green-haired God King glared and immediately retreated. With a flick of his sleeve, silver snakes danced in the air. The divine flames that shattered the doppelgangers filled the sky. Big Brother Lin Shun is here. It's the doppelgangers. It's the signal to retreat. Including the original doppelgangers, there were 5 doppelgangers present. It was enough to stop one God King. It was even enough to stop a few more experts. Zhao Anren flew over and sent a secret voice transmission using the law of principles. Everyone, cover team, 5's retreat. Her cultivation realm had actually broken through to the 8th level of the divine realm, the divine body integration realm. She had already received guidance from the hemp-robed old man, and this battle had stimulated her potential to the greatest extent, allowing her to reach a new level. Shangguan Yun, whose clothes were stained with blood, waved her hand. Even though she was heavily injured, she still stood at the front with the others. Luo Yu and the rest of the 5th team cupped their fists and retreated. Yi Qingwu gently stroked her black hair. Her pale and charming face slightly smiled. What? Do you still want to fight? The green-haired God King was so angry that he laughed instead. Little girl, don't be too arrogant. Victory or defeat hasn't been determined yet. A bloody battle broke out once again. However, this time, there was no longer a great disparity in the battle situation. With Lin Shun's phantom doppelgangers holding down the fort, Realm C's forces fought in fear and trepidation. The wily old foxes of Realm C didn't work as hard as the Divine Realm. When they encountered Lin Shun's clones that didn't fear death, they lost more than half of the battle. This allowed the 5th team in charge of scouting to retreat safely, rushing towards the Dark Star Sea Domain at full speed. The Dark Star Sea Domain was located at the extreme west of the Dragon Race's territory, completely opposite from where Yi Qingwu and the others were. Everyone thought that Lin Shun and the others were going to bypass the Dragon Race's territory and head towards the 4th layer of Realm C. However, this wasn't the case at all. As long as they reached the Dark Star Sea Domain, they would win. The next day, the 5th team and the 1st team arrived at the Dark Star Sea Domain at almost the same time. Big Brother Lin Shun. Luo Yu's expression was excited. How could he not be excited when he saw everyone breaking out of the encirclement? Lin Shun nodded. I need the 5th team to open a path for everyone. Can you do it? Yes. Along the way, Lin Shun could be said to be rushing while refining the attribute light. He had no choice. In the past, after killing enemies, the attribute light he obtained was all refined by his doppelgangers. Now, his phantom doppelgangers were risking their lives to fight, so he had to personally absorb the attribute light balls obtained from the battle. Everyone set foot in the Dark Star Sea Domain. Above their heads were raging waves, and the surface of the sea stirred up spatial fragments. If they entered the sea carelessly, even a 9th-level Divine Realm expert would be torn into pieces. The islands in the sea domain flickered like dim starlight, and there were layers of divine fog. It was as if danger was hidden in every place. Everyone moved forward. The divine fog in the Dark Star Sea Domain was even thicker than the 3 islands, and their perception was extremely limited. Lin Shun led everyone forward and arrived in front of 2 dark storms. The pitch-black storm was like a tornado in front of everyone, stirring up the fragmented starlight. It was like a coiled black dragon. The Dark Star Storm was the most terrifying sea disaster in the Dark Star Sea Domain. It was famous for this. Almost no experts were willing to get close to this damn place. Don't move, I will explore the path first. Black light flashed, and Lin Shun, who was wearing 2 armed guards and 1 armor, raised his arms. Two beams of black light spread out like cubes. Lin Shen displayed an absolute defense posture and slowly stepped into the pitch-black storm, flickering with starlight. One step, two steps, it was like a demon was approaching. The dark star storm, which could swallow a divine king, didn't hurt Lin Shen. In the end, Lin Shen stepped into the dark star storm safely. A silver-white space tunnel extended from afar, and it was like a bright silver light spread out on the sea surface. It was very mysterious. It's just as the map said. Lin Shen was excited. The center of the dark star storm was the most violent, and it was a place no experts wanted to go near. However, the dark star storm's power was the weakest in the most violent central region, and even an ordinary third-stage divine realm expert could pass through. It was a natural energy tide. Lin Shen transmitted his voice, and everyone rushed in. Lin Shen released the second shuttle of flying Apsara, and the huge ship floated on the sea surface. Everyone in the fifth team boarded the ship. Then, a team of heavily injured people boarded the ship, and 3,000 people followed Lin Shen. Luo Yu was shocked. "Brother Lin Shen, aren't you leaving together?" Lin Shen smiled casually. "It's fine. You leave first. We still have to go back to support them." Lin Shen pointed to the end of the space tunnel and said, "Don't be careless. Although the map points to the divine desolate star field, it might be dangerous. The road ahead is unknown, and you still have to be the scouts for all the teams. There are still injured people on the ship to protect. The mission of the fifth team can only be considered as starting now." Luo Yu's eyes flashed. Luo Yu understands. Watching the thousands of people of the fifth team leave, Lin Shen laughed heartily. "Everyone, let's go back to support everyone." The fifth team retreated and crossed the realm sea. It was a great success. When the gods of the divine realm returned to defend and chase after Lin Shen, the high-level divine kings gathered together. The reason why half-step divine kings were so rare in the divine realm was because half-step divine kings were usually in a state of seclusion to break through to the divine king realm. It was rare for half-step divine kings to come out for expeditions. If there were a few more half-step divine kings on this trip, perhaps the opportunity would be completely different. Blazing Divine King was killed. One of the divine kings of the divine realm, Lu Dingsheng, opened his eyes wide. "You 40,000 true gods against 4,000 true gods. 3 divine kings against 1 Lin Shen. 10 against 1, 3 against 1, and he could kill 1 and wipe out 8,000 people? Damn it. No one would believe this kind of ridiculous battle results." Before Lu Dingsheng had time to berate, a strong practitioner of the divine realm transmitted a message. "Your Excellency Wing King, we receive a message from Mo Wuxing in the Realm Sea. Outside the Dragon Clan's territory, traces of Lin Shen and the rest were discovered. Furthermore, Mo Wuxing also said that Lin Shen and the rest even appeared in the Dragon Clan's territory. Report. Another true god found out the news. The divine kings in the air were shocked. The 8 great venerables of the divine realm went to investigate. Lin Shen and the rest appeared in the Dragon Clan's territory and acted without restraint. Their arrogance is very arrogant." The divine kings looked at each other, their hearts as if struck by lightning. The beautiful woman in the peach dress opened her red lips slightly. Could it be? Firstly, Lin Shen's main body broke out of the encirclement and headed in the direction of his companions. Secondly, the figures of Lin Shen and the rest appeared in the Dragon Clan's territory. What did this mean? It meant that both sides had dealings. Thirdly, the combination of the previous two, Lin Shen's main body took such a huge risk to break out of the encirclement in order to rendezvous with the Dragon Clan. That's right, this guy wanted to join forces with the Dragon Clan. He wanted to borrow the Dragon Clan's hands to help them break out of the encirclement and enter the Fourth Realm Sea. Ha! Man proposes, but God disposes. Everyone, Blazing Divine King's death was not in vain. Everyone, with the 4 great Dragon Clan's territory as the target, advanced with the entire army. The various God Kings seemed to have locked onto Lin Shen's intentions. This guy wanted to find the Dragon Clan to cooperate. Chapter 2070. At the edge of the Dark Star Sea region, after coming out of the Dark Star Storm, Lin Chun and the others were still lurking nearby. They think we want to cooperate with the dragon race. In fact, we do want to cooperate with the dragon race. But my main goal is not to cooperate with the dragon race. Lin Chun confused everyone. Fighting with the god race will not happen overnight. As long as we break through the first wave, there will be a second and third wave. So strategically, we have to fight a protracted war with them. Tactically, we have to fight a blitzkrieg battle with them. If they want to surround us and force us to break through, we will retreat. If they want to force us to retreat, we will fight. Never follow the opponent's train of thought. Be fast, accurate, and decisive. Lin Chun drew a circle on the star map. As a man, you can't be straightforward. You have to be flexible and hard. At first, you have to be like 1, and later, you have to be like 0. Miraculously, not long after, the God Race teams listed on the star map changed from a 1 long snake formation to a circle. Everyone's mouth turned into an O shape. The enemy team also turned into an O shape. Everyone looked at Lin Chun dumbfounded. He actually predicted the change in the enemy team's direction. What level did he predict this wave at? Brother Chun, you're so cunning. Lu Qixin swallowed a divine pill and said excitedly, Brother Lin Chun, what should we do? Lin Chun smiled. You guys recover here and prepare for the next battle. I'll be in charge of receiving the 3rd and 4th teams. Your mission is to finish the final battle. Lin Chun also sat cross-legged and refined a huge amount of attribute points. He couldn't be in a hurry. The enemy of the God realm changed their formation, but it didn't mean that they were already acting according to their plan. A total of 900,000 high-level set essences consumed. 3 sky-raising divine armor parts charged, 100%. Buzz. Boom. Almost at the same time, a nebula bloomed above Lin Chun's head, and his divine power surged into the sky. The stars' sand shone. The dark red lightning flashed around Lin Chun's body. The fiery light of the divine flames flickered. In Lin Chun's divine eyes, his cultivation level had reached a whole new level. Congratulations to the host for reaching the middle stage of the 4th tier of the divine realm. When he was only a short distance away from the late 4th stage, the divine power in Lin Chun's Tai space-time slowly stopped growing. Star Ocean Azure is indeed worthy of being a red-grade technique. Not only can it mobilize the power of the stars, but can also help the cultivator refine a huge amount of energy at lightning speed. Lin Chun sighed inwardly, a look of regret on his face. It's a pity that I'm so close to reaching the late 4th stage. Killing a God King is still too little. Beside him, Yuan Wujua almost cursed out loud. Killing a God King was not enough? No one said anything. Seeing Lin Chun's cultivation speed, everyone's fighting spirit was ignited. Everyone sat cross-legged on the reef, allowing the wind and waves to batter them. Like boulders being polished, they stood still and continued to enter a state of cultivation. If he had time to refine a divine-grade odd crystal, Lin Chun's cultivation would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. The greatest benefit of a divine-grade odd crystal and a divine-grade odd crystal to Lin Chun was that it could save time to comprehend the laws and speed up his mastery and control of the laws. Lin Chun had previously cultivated hard for a year and a half before tempering his law of fire to the transformation realm. After he obtained 2 divine-grade lightning attribute odd crystals, his law of thunder caught up, which showed the importance of divine-grade odd crystals. The team has completely surrounded the Dragon Clan's territory. It seems like it's settled. Lin Chun got up, and his injuries were nearly 90% healed. The wings of the wind spread, and Lin Chun transformed into a dark green divine light that swept across the sky. On the other side, the green-haired God King Mo Wuxing was attacked by Lin Chun's 5 phantom avatars. After a long battle, he finally chose to retreat. The 3rd and 4th teams suffered more casualties than the 1st team. Rumble. As soon as Mo Wuxing and the other border sea forces left, the divine wind swept and the waves surged. Lin Shin swept across the sky and arrived at Withered Tree Island, removing the extreme wind god set. Captain Lin Shun. It's big brother Lin Shun. He's here. Everyone cheered, and some felt relieved, and their fighting spirit was high. He was like the backbone. As long as he was around, everyone's morale would never fall. Lin Shin looked around and opened his palm. A divine ring appeared. The divine ring flickered, and jade bottles engraved with seals contained a large number of divine pills. He flicked his finger, and a dense number of pill bottles were distributed to Zhao Anren. Hurry up and distribute the pills to everyone. Take the pills and heal your injuries. Yi Qingwu was shocked. Lin Shun, Annie specially left those for you. Lin Shin smiled casually and said, It doesn't matter, my life is a life. Everyone's life is also a life. A trace of doubt appeared on her pale face. The little fairy looked at him for a long time and reached out to take a pill. She suddenly smiled and said, You've changed. You weren't like this when we were at the sacred boundary. Lin Chan said with a straight face, Qingwu knows me well. Looks like our relationship has been upgraded. From being firm when it comes to asking for favors, we're now friends. Yi Qingwu, you're still that demon from before. You haven't changed at all. Lin Shun, a beautiful figure flew over. Shangguan Yin covered the wound on her left shoulder and said with a frown, The third and fourth teams have lost nearly 1,000 people. All of them are injured, and more than half of them are seriously injured. If we encounter more than one border sea force, we won't have many people left to fight. Lin Shin nodded. Don't worry, they won't send their main force to deal with us. I'll open a path for you. Yi Qingwu looked at Lin Shun and asked curiously, You will personally open a path? The other party's target was Lin Shun. If Lin Shun opened a path himself, wouldn't he attract all of the other party's divine kings? Lin Shun smiled faintly. I'll personally open a path. Is there a problem? Of course, it's the kind without a condom. Everyone was puzzled. They didn't understand what Lin Shun was trying to do. Everyone quickly cleaned up the battlefield and set off from Withered Tree Island, rushing towards the 3 islands without stopping. Before half a day had passed, they bumped into one of the teams from the encirclement force. It was demonic Phoenix sect from the second border sea. There were more than 20,000 true gods. Looking at the 5 Lin Shins who were leading the charge, looking at the demonic Phoenix sect master who was dressed in a golden phoenix robe with phoenixes and phoenixes carved on it, with a refined and handsome appearance, his jade-like face was filled with confusion. Didn't they say that Lin Shan, that thief, went to the Dragon Clan's territory? Why did he appear here? Suddenly, one of Lin Shan stood out and said in a clear voice, Old thief from the border sea, I am Lin Shan's main body. The corners of his mouth gradually rose, and Lin Shun said with a smile, If you have the guts, come and catch me. Lin Shun waved his hand. Break out of the encirclement. Those who aren't seriously injured, come with me and beat them up. Sectmaster, a male pet asked, Are we going to fight or not? Demonic Phoenix sect master's eyes were deep, and his brows were tightly knit. Don't risk your life with these lunatics. Defend and don't let them pass. You, Demonic Phoenix sect master pointed at a male pet. Inform everyone in the divine realm to confirm whether or not to send reinforcements. Rumble. Lin Shin's team suddenly launched an offensive. 5 Lin Shins surrounded Demonic Phoenix sect master. Under the premise that they didn't use their set equipment, there was still a large distance between the phantom doppelgangers and the divine king. But with multiple doppelgangers working together, they could still pin down the divine king. The injured Yi Qingwu and Zhao Anren covered the injured members of the team. The battle was especially intense. At this time, the battle didn't even last 15 minutes. When the male pet under his command passed back the order, Demonic Phoenix sect master's elegant and fair face revealed a strange smile. Retreat. Don't bother with these fellows. Continue advance. Demonic Phoenix sect received the order and immediately left the battle. Lin Shan was slightly shocked, and a bit of panic appeared between his brows. Demonic Phoenix sect master saw it all. Then, you put on a smile that deserved a beating. Everyone, You've lost interest in me so quickly? I'm a walking reward. Don't you want it any more? Demonic Phoenix, sect master, looked up to the sky and laughed. Your acting is not bad. Lin Shen's doppelgangers. If I hadn't compared them with everyone in the divine realm, I would have fallen into your trap. Everyone, don't waste time. Advance at full speed. Seeing this scene, everyone's mouth opened slightly. Zhao Anren's pupils trembled slightly, and Shangwan Yun was deep in thought. Lin Chun hurriedly said, Don't go. Why are you in such a hurry? Why don't you hit me? So annoying. When will an honest person like me not be discriminated against? Come and hit me. I'm really Lin Chun. Why don't you believe me? Where's the most basic trust between people? Are other doppelgangers as handsome as me? Are they? Lin Chun chased after them and shouted. Demonic Phoenix sect master ran faster, as if they were afraid of missing the food in the cafeteria. Even 9 divine elephants couldn't pull them back. Everyone was in a mess in the wind. Why would they not even fight? Lin Chun shrugged. These days, it's really hard to be an honest person. The corner of his mouth rose, and Lin Chun waved his hand. What are you waiting for? Let's go and tell everyone that I'm the real Lin Chun. Chapter 2071. Here, I am Lin Chen's main body. Hit me, hit my face. Brother, why are you leaving so quickly? Are you done with your work? Why don't you bring my handsome face back home? I only want 998. I, Lin Chen's main body, am itching for a beating. Ask the boundless starry river, the vast four-dimensional universe, who can grant me death. Lin Chun laughed uproariously, laughing as he asked the various vassals to seek death. The people of the 3rd and 4th teams broke out in cold sweat. Brother, act like a human. Brother Chun, really, even marrying someone isn't as high profile as you. Lin Chun said seriously, you don't understand. Being high profile is a must. As long as Lin Chun didn't show his suit, no one would believe him even if he shouted himself hoarse. It could be said that he opened the way and didn't use any tricks. A man who did whatever he wanted. On the way to the Dark Star Sea region, Lin Chun and the 3rd and 4th teams encountered several groups of enemies. Whether it was the true divinity teams of the Divine Realm or the Realm Sea, they all ignored Lin Chen's group. Some of them even came up to Lin Chun, just for show, casually exchanging a few blows with him before letting him go. Some didn't even show any interest and avoided Lin Chun the moment they saw him. On the way, the strongest member of the 3rd team, Su Qiqing, sighed, Your Excellency Lin Chun is truly a god. I admire you. I admire you too much. Zhao Anren couldn't help but ask, Did you bribe the Divine Realm? Or did you arrange your own people inside? Lin Chun said seriously, Because it's all because of my charisma and handsome appearance. My charisma is all because of my face. My cultivation technique is all because of my luck. Shang Wanyin said, I understand. Lin Chun gave her a satisfied look, as expected of someone who once held the script. You can be taught. Everyone's attention was on Shang Wanyin. They raised their heads in anticipation and urged her to tell them the reason. However, Shang Wanyin insisted that she would only announce it when they arrived at the Dark Star Sea territory. On the way, everyone still had to focus on taking care of the injured who had taken the divine pills. The encirclement continued to close in on the territories of the 4 great dragon clans, forming an encirclement. More than 200,000 true gods and various divine kings were all closing in. 2 hours ago, after the demonic Phoenix sect encountered Lin Chun, they immediately informed the God's Domains team. This continued until it reached the ears of the Wings King, Lu Dingqing. When a God King in black armor heard this news, he instantly gripped his divine spear tightly. His eyes lit up. Let's go. Prepare to turn around and kill them all. Wait. Wing Monarch Lu Dingqing sent a voice transmission to stop him. He smiled and said, If you are Lin Chun, why don't you disguise yourself inside and jump out of this encirclement? All the deities were startled. Indeed, it wasn't easy for them to break out of the encirclement, yet they were retreating. It was truly incomprehensible. Lu Dingsheng turned to look at a true god scout. Do you still see Lin Chen's figure in the Dragon Clan's territory? The scout replied respectfully, he's still there. A special emergency divine power transmission has been set up. If he leaves, the space jade slip will send a message back immediately. All the deities were startled. Their eyes flickered. Lu Dingsheng laughed loudly. That's right. Even if he jumps out of the encirclement in the south, it's the same as returning to the original point. If they want to reach the Fourth Realm Sea, there's no such route in the south at all. If they want to escape to the Fourth Realm Sea, they must cross the Dragon Clan's territory and rush through the defense line that we specially arranged. If they break out of the encirclement in the south, from a strategic point of view, they won't achieve their goal at all. This move must be a diversion, an attempt to divide our main force, and then join forces with the 4 great Dragon Clans, borrowing the Dragon Clan's combat power to hold us back. My main body must still be in the 4 great Dragon Clans' territory. Pass down my order. Inform all the teams that the team in the south is a diversion. If we meet them, we will at most delay them for a while. The main forces of all the teams must surround the Dragon Clan's territory and be prepared for the battle there at all times. This was the inevitable answer. Lin Shun, retreating to the south, didn't have any benefits for his main body at all. Could it be that he dared to retreat to the Second Realm Sea? No, he didn't have such guts. In the Second Realm Sea, divine kings could tear the space apart. Even if he had 6 pairs of wings, he wouldn't be able to fly out. Therefore, even if his main body was mixed in with the team over there, the situation wouldn't change for him at all. On the contrary, his actions would only cause the subordinates who had followed him to attack the 3 divine kings' teams to lose in vain. This move was basically a smokescreen. Little did they know that Wing King's idea was exactly what Lin Shun had set up for them. All the deities unanimously believed that he would ask the Dragon Clan for help. In fact, the cooperation with the Dragon Clan had always been a diversion. False and true, true and false. In the Dark Star Sea Domain, Tang Jianghai's beautiful eyes instantly opened. The divine technique on her back appeared in her hand, and she aimed outside the Sea Domain. Only when the 2 teams entered the Dark Star Sea Domain did she let out a sigh of relief. It's His Excellency Yuan Wujue. It's the 3rd and 4th teams. Good heavens, both teams have returned. What a stroke of genius. It seems like Brother Lin Shun made another move to bring them back. The 3 teams met. Many people were crying tears of joy. When they hugged each other, they displayed a strong comradeship. At the same time, many people's expressions were still filled with grief and anger. Everyone, Lin Shun faced the survivors of the 3rd team and said gravely, everyone who died was sacrificed for the sake of our future. If we act blindly, it will be the same as letting down those who have already died. In this battle, if we survive, we will win. Lin Shun pointed at the spatial passage in the Sea Domain. 3rd and 4th teams, take care of the wounded and evacuate them first. 5th team still need your strength. As for the remaining matters, leave them to the 1st team. Everyone calmed down and stepped into the secret spatial passage in the Sea Domain. Before leaving, Zhao Anren suddenly turned around and looked straight at Lin Shun. Remember to come back alive. Lin Shun nodded. I'll leave that side to you. Seeing this scene, Shang Wanyin shook her head and sighed. She silently walked at the front of the team. After sending off the 2 teams, the second crossing of the Realm Sea was completely over. Lin Shun turned to look at Yuan Wujue, Yi Qingwu, and the others. Can you still fight? Everyone in the 1st team, a total of 3,000 true divinities, looked at each other and smiled. Nothing needed to be said. Next, in the remaining dragon race territories, the most dangerous ones in the center of the mission were the 2nd team, led by Shun Lingshuang. Only when they were rescued could it be considered a perfect retreat. In the Flaming Mountains, the mountain ranges rose and fell like azure dragons. The dragon race's sacrificial altar towered into the clouds. Lin Shen's avatar and the cross-dressing Shun Lingshuang met the dragon kings of the various dragon races here. What did you say? Red Lotus Dragon King's eyes blazed with scarlet flames. He questioned the dragon guards under him. There are signs of humans in the territories of the various races. Divine kings are approaching? It's absolutely true. It's a veteran force of the second layer of the realm sea. In addition, there are true divinities of the human race's divine realm. After hearing the report, the dragon kings sitting high in the palace looked at each other thoughtfully. Lin Chen's avatar smiled faintly. Since they have appeared, our cooperation will end here for the time being. The rewards I gave to the various races earlier are just a greeting gift. There's no need to return them. What a human junior. You have also schemed against my dragon race. The old man with fiery eyebrows, sitting at the highest position, spoke slowly. He had a red, jade-like dragon horn on his head. His old face was covered with dragon scales, and he had a long beard. His dragon tail swayed under his seat. It was the old dragon king of the Red Lotus flaming dragon race. The moment he said that, the atmosphere instantly became tense. Schemed against the dragon race? Could it be that this kid came with ill intentions? The dragon race elites immediately surrounded Lin Chen. Lin Chen tapped the front of his cup with his fingertips and raised it with one hand. The situation was set, and the wine was even better. He raised the cup and drank it all. He laughed loudly. Satisfying. A smile appeared on the old Dragon King's old face for the first time. Young man, why are you so happy? Lin Shun put down the wine cup and smiled faintly. Because freeloading makes me happy. Chapter 2072. The conversation between the two caused the Dragon Kings to fall into deep thought. The Red Lotus Dragon King frowned. Old Dragon King, what do you mean? The old Dragon King stroked his beard and smiled. His intention is to draw them over. Lin Chen calmly smiled. The older the ginger, the spicier it is. In the end, old Mister has seen through it. The old Dragon King smiled. What a good move. Even if you see through it, you won't be able to jump out of your expectations. Petty tricks and schemes, but great wisdom lies in overt schemes. This move of yours can be said to be impeccable. Lin Chen laughed. Old Mister must be joking. There is no such thing as an impeccable plan in this world. There are only 4 words. Man can conquer the heavens. The old Dragon King's eyes were filled with praise. Man can conquer the heavens. Your demeanor, appearance, and thoughts remind me of my past memories. You are very similar to that group of people. His jade-like dragon eyes evoked memories and emotions. The dragon race had a long lifespan. In addition to the Dragon King's cultivation, his lifespan was evergreen. The old Dragon King had also seen a similar team before. The conversation between the two caused the Red Lotus Dragon King's eyes to narrow. Was Lin Chen's goal to draw the humans of the divine realm over here? Could it be? The Red Lotus Dragon King's expression gradually changed to one of shock and horror. Clang! The wine cup in his hand fell to the ground, and the wine spilled all over. The boiling hot ground vaporized the wine into a wisp of smoke that rose into the air, reflecting the Red Lotus Dragon King's incredulous expression. The old Dragon King saw that the Dragon Kings had realized the problem and began to explain. From Lin Shun entering the dragon race's territory, to the discussion of cooperation, to the gathering of the various races. When the old Dragon King pointed out these points one by one, a strange expression appeared on the faces of the dragon race's elites. Their mouths twitched and their eyebrows jumped. Mother asterisk her, is this even possible? That expression was as if someone had taken advantage of them, and they couldn't resist. Resisting was more uncomfortable, but not resisting was more comfortable. And from the perspective of Team 2, their intentions were even clearer. When Team 1 attacked the main force, it just so happened that Lin Shun had entered the dragon race to discuss cooperation. At this time, facing Lin Chen's proposal of cooperation, the dragon race had 3 choices. 1. Choose to cooperate with Lin Shun. 2. Betraying Lin Shun and informing on God's domain. 3. Start a war in the Dragon Clan's territory, kill Lin Shun, and take his secrets for himself. Judging from the timing, if the Dragon Clan chose the second option, it would take some time for the Dragon Clan to send a message to the Divine Realm. Regardless of which choice the Dragon Clan made, by the time the people of the Realm of the Gods found out about Lin Chen's position, the first team had already broken through. At that time, the Divine Realm would receive 3 possible messages. Lin Chen's main body broke out of the encirclement and appeared in the Dragon Race's territory, where he was happily chatting with the Dragon Race and wanted to cooperate. Either they would fight within the Dragon Clan's territory, or the Dragon Clan would personally inform the gods of the Divine Realm in secret. Whether it was Lin Chen playing the role of the Dragon Race, the Dragon Race and Lin Chen playing the role of the Divine Realm's great army, or the Dragon Race playing the role of Lin Chen, these 3 choices would only lead to a single result. That was, all the teams in the Divine Dominion had to target the Dragon Clan's territory and advance with all their members. The formation would naturally change from 1 to 0 encirclement, and this was precisely what Lin Chen wanted. The change in formation would naturally create an opportunity for the second crossing of the Realm Sea to reverse the situation. The moment Lin Chen came knocking on their door, no matter what choice the Dragon Clan made to deal with Lin Chen, the result would be the same. The Dragon Kings of the 4 clans suddenly stood up, their expressions especially fascinating as they looked directly at this young man. What a guy! From the moment he came to visit the Dragon Clan, he had already won. What a good move, real and fake coexisting. It is indeed impeccable. The Red Lotus Dragon King raised his hand, and the elites of the various clans that were still surrounding Lin Chen a moment ago slowly retreated like the tide. Now, there was already no substantial benefit in starting a war or falling out with Lin Chen. His strategic goal had already been achieved. Falling out with him instead did not have any benefits at all. Since he had already been hoarded for free, why not pull back a favor, a little reward? Wong, Wong, Wong. 5 illusory divine lights descended, and 6 of Lin Chen's illusory doppelgangers were gathered here. Between the illusory doppelgangers, using the illusory runes could allow the other doppelgangers to move to the position of the doppelganger that used the runes. Seeing that Lin Chen actually used a method that even the Dragon Kings could not detect to create 5 Lin Chen out of thin air, it was difficult to distinguish between the real and the fake, completely moved the elites of the 4 great dragon clans. The 5 illusory doppelgangers each stood at one side, circulating the Tai heaven concealing technique for several cycles. Strong winds swept up, and a red god power vortex rose above the heads of the doppelgangers. Like rivers flowing into the sea, the attribute light balls scattered in the mountain range all flew towards the doppelgangers. Obtain 1. 9 billion divine chi points, 3 million sacred strengthening points, 69 million divine fire energy, 30. 9 million divine talent points, 6 million divine heavenly Tao points, 1 billion divine chi points. This flaming mountain range was once a region where a divine dragon had broken through to the Dragon King level. There were many attribute light balls left behind. With a new version of the system, circulating the Tai heaven concealing technique was enough to absorb all the attribute light balls from a part of the space. Lin Chen sighed in his heart. As expected, freeloading was the happiest. After acting as the Dragon Clan and the Divine Domain, he still earned so many attribute light balls. This time, it was the old Dragon King who suggested, Lin Chen, in the current situation, you need more cooperation than us, don't you think? Oh, Shenling Shuang answered on behalf of Lin Chen. Senior's meaning is, my Dragon Clan of the Third Realm Sea will help you in this battle and send you on your way. The reward is very simple. You have to let all the Dragon Kings receive your bloodline upgrade. How about it? Lin Chen shook his head. All the Dragon Kings cannot do it. To upgrade a Dragon King's bloodline is not an easy matter. Lin Chen was actually speaking the truth. To upgrade a Dragon King who was on the same level as a Divine King, the amount of strengthening points needed was not a small amount. In order to upgrade the battle power of the 5 teams, from divine weapons to martial techniques, he had strengthened many of them. Even if he killed a Divine King, The strengthening points he had now might not be enough to upgrade the bloodline of the Dragon Kings. The old Dragon King's eyes emitted a few rays of light. Not only was he not angry, he instead gently stroked his beard and said with a smile, "No matter. Even if you are unable to do it now, you can make up for it later." Lin Shun narrowed his eyes. Old Dragon King's meaning is the old Dragon King nodded slightly. Just treat it as you owe the Dragon Clan a favor. You can repay it later. A favor. The expressions of the Dragon Clan's elites were especially interesting. The Dragon Clan loved treasures, whether it was cooperation or trade. They rarely cooperated with favors. To put it simply, talking about favors would hurt money. They would not accept credit. This meant that this Lin Chen's human race represented enough weight for the Dragon Clan to help them first, then talk about rewards. Lin Chen raised his cup and drank, smiling faintly. Is it because of that teacher, or does the old Dragon King really value me, Lin Chen? The old Dragon King's eyes flashed with hope. Laughing loudly, both. Good. Lin Chen leapt up and landed in front of the old Dragon King. Both sides hit it off. Shenling Shuang and the rest could not help but be overjoyed. The Dragon Clan could really help them block the Divine Realms teams. This was completely unexpected. Shenling Shuang, who was disguised as a man, smiled, looking extremely beautiful. Originally, Master was only here to act. Who would have thought that the fake would become real? Chapter 2073. Waves surged, and the dark sky conveyed a terrifying pressure. Tens of thousands of true gods stepped on divine light and controlled the loss. The divine might of the great Tao appeared in the sky, and the northwest of the three-layered realm sea was completely in chaos. Rumble. Huge divine wings covered the stars and the moon, and faint starlight appeared on the wings. It was as if they could sweep through the world and destroy everything in front of them. All dragons, listen to my orders. I am the divine king of the human race's divine realm. I am hunting down Lin Shun. If the dragon race doesn't hand him over, I will flatten this place today. Wing King Lu Dingcheng transmitted his voice in all directions. The terrifying sound of thunder swept through the territory of the red lotus flame dragons and spread to the territories of the other dragon races. Rumble. In an instant, flames descended from the sky, and fire dragons danced. The red lotus flame dragon king appeared in dragon form. A super divine dragon that was thousands of feet long roared angrily. Divine flames that could burn the world burned on every inch of its dragon scales. It was like a volcano that was thousands of feet long, eternal, and indestructible. The red lotus dragon king inhaled and exhaled a long dragon aura and said in a muffled voice, "What the hell is this Lin Shun? I have never heard of him. On the other hand, you outsiders dare to step into the territory of my clan. Old fart, are you tired of living?" Lu Dingchang sneered and said, "I am here to inform you today, not to discuss with you." "Inform your ass." The red lotus dragon king scolded, and a blazing dragon light bloomed in his eyes. "I order you to leave my dragon race's territory. Otherwise, within 10 breaths, it will be equivalent to you declaring war on my dragon race." The dragon king roared. The red lotus flame dragon race is not afraid of challenges. Thousands of miles away, countless dragon roars echoed as if the dragon race's army was rushing to the battlefield at any time. Lu Dingcheng shouted coldly, "Red Lotus Flame Dragon, I will also give you 10 breaths. Otherwise, it will be equivalent to declaring war on my divine realm." The Dragon King sneered. "You represent the human race's divine realm? Who do you think you are?" Lu Dingcheng's eyes sharpened, and he shouted coldly, "One." The Red Lotus Dragon King spat. "Don't King say 1. I will count for you. 10. Lu Dingcheng's expression instantly turned gloomy. "I think you're deliberately looking for trouble. Fight!" The 9 Dragon Gate sect leaders and Demonic Phoenix sect leaders had strange expressions on their faces. Something wasn't quite right. Although they weren't a force of the Third Realm Sea, they had quite a few dealings with the elites of the Third Realm Sea. Normally, the dragon race wouldn't take the risk of facing 10 divine kings and forcefully resist the divine realm like this. The Dragon King roared. These humans dare to invade the territory of my Red Lotus Flame Dragon clan. Warriors of my clan, devour them. Boom, boom, boom. The aura of dragons surged into the sky. Tens of thousands of dragons had appeared. Not only the Red Lotus Flame Dragon clan, but the Extreme Hell Water Divine Dragon clan, Underworld Dragon clan, and other dragon clans had all sent their elites to participate in the battle. The various great dragon kings appeared and personally fought with their true forms. The scene was especially chaotic. You don't know what is good for you. What a shameless dragon. Fine, I've long wanted to see what the Red Lotus Hellfire of the Red Lotus Flaming Dragon is capable of. I can see that they want to protect Lin Shun and the others. The various deities of the divine realm set up their battle array. This time, the battle was especially terrifying, far surpassing any previous battle. It shook the various powers of the three realm seas. More than 200,000 true deities of the divine realm gathered in a range of 100,000 li. They were heavily surrounded. This force wouldn't be weak in any of the realm seas. Several great dragon kings and the various divine kings of the divine realm declared war. The other side seemed aggressive, but in reality, they were all holding back when fighting. Everyone was very clear about their goal. The divine realm wanted Lin Shun, and the dragon clan wanted to stall for time. Pum. At this time, at the extreme east of the battlefield, a team suddenly charged out, attracting the attention of all the experts. The slaughter law swirled around his fists like wind jade. His slender fists concealed terrifying killing intent, and a single punch shook away 100 zhong of divine might. His clothes were whiter than snow, and he was a man with red lips and white teeth. His face was like jade, and his elegant eyebrows were slightly raised. He was incomparably handsome. The white-clothed youth crooked his finger at Lu Dingsheng, who wasn't far away. His elegant eyebrows were slightly raised, and the corners of his mouth raised in an extremely beautiful and arrogant arc. The second team took advantage of the chaotic battle and began to charge out from the west side where there were the fewest people. It seems to be the team by Lin Chen's side. No, don't act rashly. We still haven't seen Lin Chen's position. Report. Lin Chen's figure has appeared in the east and south at the same time. There's also one in the north. A bunch of law sound transmissions immediately disrupted the various divine kings and the experts of the realm seas. Mother asterisk Kerr. How did this Lin Chen appear like a magic trick? The moment the various teams of the divine realm showed signs of hesitation, the second team's offense was like a hot knife through butter. Borrowing the enormous bodies of the dragon clan to move in the divine fog, the second team's momentum was simply like a hot knife through butter. Everyone disperse, follow Captain Wu Shuang's direction, and increase the distance between us and them. Bring out your strongest attacks in an instant, and then charge out once you're done. The members of the second team all roared angrily. More than 5,000 true gods are divided into 100 small teams. Each of them broke through one side and attacked their opponents alternately. They were like a group of nimble dragons that entered the sea as if they were entering an uninhabited land. The battle became more and more intense, especially when they discovered that Lin Chen's clones elsewhere were beginning to be unable to withstand the attacks of the various true gods and were beginning to die again and again. Time had already been delayed for a very long time. Lu Dingsheng faintly had a bad feeling. His divine wings unfurled furiously, and the feathers shot out like a torrential downpour, blasting away the Red Lotus Dragon King. At this moment, the five-colored brilliance of the origin laws covered his divine eyes. The origin laws could open up the origin sea of consciousness within the divine soul and observe the origin of the great Tao. They could see through the essence of the great Tao and see through the essence of the four dimensions. They could see through time and space and see through the finest details without any effort. It was even to the extent that the origin laws cultivated to the heaven attainment realm could return to the essence of the laws. They were the most widely used laws. Whether it was in battle or searching for enemies, they were extremely useful. Needless to say, when used with the methods of a divine king, if it wasn't for the divine mist pervading the air, Lu Dingsheng could even instantly see through a large area of the realm sea. It was extremely terrifying. In the blink of an eye, he saw through the battlefield and fell into deep thought, appearing in all directions at the same time. Before this brat used that strange armor of his, it was impossible to distinguish who was the main body and who was the clone. Could it be that he was in that small team? But that's not right. According to the route, if he wanted to head to the fourth layer realm C, shouldn't he be going in the opposite direction? Wait a moment. A thought struck Lu Dingsheng like a sudden clap of thunder. What if Lin Chen's goal from the start wasn't the fourth layer realm C? Divine kings couldn't tear apart space in the third layer realm C. The realm C was vast to begin with, and no one dared to say that they had explored the first layer realm C and second layer realm C completely. There were still many unknown regions. What if Lin Chen's goal from the start was a certain place in the third layer realm C and not the fourth layer realm C? Especially when he thought about how Lin Chen's main body would bring his team with him every time he moved. Only then did Lu Dingsheng come back to his senses. Team. Yes, that's right, it's his team. If this king's hypothesis is established, he's going to such great lengths to cover the retreat of the team around him. Mother Faster's Kerr, I've been tricked. Lu Dingsheng's fury soared to the heavens. Kings of the Realm Sea, help this king block this dragon king. 500,000 divine jades will be offered. All teams, listen to this king's order. Capture Lin Chen's team for this king and beat them to death. The law of voice transmission spread in all directions. Lu Dingsheng flapped his divine wings, driving the law of wind and the law of shadow. The speed of these two great laws was raised to the limit, and he rushed towards Team 2. The various teams of the divine realm immediately turned their attention to Team 2 that had broken out of the encirclement. Ignoring the attack of the dragon race, several thousand true gods risked their lives to surround Team 2. Bang! Rumble! Suddenly, an unprecedentedly loud sound reverberated in the horizon. Over 100 true gods of the divine realm were knocked flying all over the sky. In a split second, the sound of killing shook the sky, the momentum grand. A ball of fire rushed over from the opposite side of Team 2, alarming countless true gods. What's that? The various true gods of the divine realm saw a behemoth barge into their line of sight. Fire. Endless divine fire suddenly erupted from the east. The divine fire brewed the law of fire, enveloping a giant ship. A giant ship burning with surging divine flames rode the wind and broke through the waves, soaring through the sky. At an extremely fast speed, it actually directly opened up a path outside the encirclement. On the bow of the ship, a person in golden battle armor held a war god spear in his hand. Brilliant divine radiance was like an undefeated sun, illuminating the dusky sky. He stepped on the giant ship, and with a wave of his divine spear, over 1,000 true gods were sent flying by his spear. With an indomitable momentum, he charged into the battlefield. Mother Faster's Kerr, I've seen a ghost in broad daylight. It's Lin Chen. Why did this guy come out from behind us? Chapter 2074. Boom, boom, boom. The shuttle of flying Apsara was like a giant ship that broke through everything. Along the way, it crushed countless true gods as it passed through the encirclement, as if it was unstoppable. What the F asterisk CK, what's going on? A golden god of war. Could that be Lin Chen's true body? Something's wrong. It's a mess. It's all a mess. When did he run behind us? Shouldn't he be in the various territories of the dragon race within the encirclement? Why is he here? What the F asterisk CK is this in broad daylight? The true gods outside the encirclement were horrified. There were no godly kings overseeing the battle outside. without the combat strength of a divine king. Who could freaking stop Lin Shun, this lunatic? It's the big brothers of the first team. Ha, we're out. What omnipotent, godly realm, aren't they still being walked around by us like dogs? Everyone, follow Big Brother Lin Shun and cut down the godly realm's dogs. Everyone looked up to the sky and laughed. They broke through the encirclement like a hot knife through butter. When the battle was at its most intense, divine light shocked the world. From time to time, there would be new divine might. In the second team, there were actually people breaking through on the spot. It had to be known that the second team was facing the most dangerous mission among the 5 teams. If they acted according to plan, it was equivalent to being in the most dangerous encirclement. In front, there was the risk of the dragon race turning hostile, and behind, there was the encirclement of the godly realm's gods. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were walking on the tip of a knife. Under unprecedented pressure, everyone broke through one after another. In a chaotic battle, the light of divine wings drifted down. It was as if snow was rolling up. A pair of divine wings flickered with divine light and swept up fierce winds. It was the Wing King, Lu Dingsheng. His face was ferocious. Only when he felt the aura in the distance did he realize that his guess was true. Damn you, Lin Shun, if I don't beat you to death, I'm not called Lu Dingsheng. The divine wings flapped, and his speed increased. Lu Dingsheng passed through the battlefield, together with the other 2 godly kings. They quickly approached Lin Shun from different directions. Lin Shun jumped out of the shuttle of flying Apsara and officially met up with Shunling Shuang. The 2 of them seemed to have a tacit understanding of each other's minds, as they each used a single move to disperse the opponents that had surrounded them. Master and disciple stood back to back. Lin Shun immediately said, "Quick, take everyone and retreat first. I'll cut off their tail." After letting everyone board the shuttle of flying Apsara, Shunling Shuang said, "Let everyone go first. Master and I will stay here." Lin Shun shouted, "You're messing around. It'll be too late if we don't leave now." Shunling Shuang said, "No, I want to fight side by side with Master." Shunling Shuang, who was dressed in men's clothing, looked directly at Lin Shun. Her eyes were as bright as the clouds, showing her fighting spirit. "Master, you're always so crazy. I didn't have a chance before, but now I want to be crazy with you to the end." Lin Chen's mouth twitched. He had to bring down the disciple that he had taught, even if he had to hold back his tears. By the time the wounded boarded the shuttle of flying Apsara, Team 1 and Team 2 had finally gathered together. Everyone started to break out of the encirclement towards the south and rush towards the Dark Star Sea Domain. Lin Shun and Shunling Shuang, the 2 of them and the 6 doppelgangers, formed a line of defense, blocking all the true gods on the south side. They even had a tendency to fight back. Rumble. Feathers fluttered, and a snow-white brilliance dyed the sky. Thousands of auspicious auras soared into the sky, and the flying sword tiger appeared. The 3 god kings, led by Lu Dingsheng, were the first to arrive. Lu Dingsheng put on a fake smile. "What a good show, Lin Shun." Lin Shun said indifferently, "You're flattering me. I'm just the God Realms, God Realms, God Realms, God Realms, God Realms, God Realms, God Director." Shunling Shuang patted her chest and smiled. "I'm the director's favorite assistant." Which director?" Lu Dingsheng spat. "I don't care what you're planning. I'm going to take your head today." His divine wings furiously spread out, gradually growing larger and larger as they shone with the sharp blade laws that could cut through thousands of caddies. They were like 1,000 sharp blades, aimed straight at Lin Shun. God shattering the world. The divine wings suddenly flapped, and the bright and sharp slicing laws were mixed with a domineering aura that could cut through everything. They turned into a storm that swept toward Lin Shun and Shunling Shuang. Starting with a red grade technique. "You really think highly of me, Lin Shun." Lin Shun pushed Shunling Shuang away with his shoulder and stood in front of her. The war god spear in his hand shone brightly, and Lin Shun suddenly swung it toward the sky. The pure explosive power of the war god turned into a golden flash. Chi! Bang! The spear tore through the opponent's attack, and the storm that exploded scattered the sharp blades all over the sky. This was a technique that couldn't be blocked even if it broke through. It was actually similar to the God's Tear that Lin Shun had cultivated before. Lin Shun swung the war god spear with both hands and deflected the countless sharp blades. He retreated step by step, and his arms were numb. Even the war god's golden body couldn't block too much damage. Wave after wave of attacks crashed into Lin Shun. Lin Shun instinctively blocked this attack, but in order to protect Shunling Shuang, he had to use all his strength. Clang! A sword was unsheathed, and it turned into a dragon's roar. The sword god king on the flying heaven sword tiger had a deep frown, and the divine sword in his hand condensed a majestic sword light. He slashed diagonally and slashed at Lin Shen's back. Xiao! Another arrow came even faster than the first one. Lin Shun swung his spear and swept it horizontally. A golden divine light flashed, and a dragon-like spear light appeared on the tip of the spear, shattering the third God King's attack. Oh no, behind me! Lin Shen's heart skipped a beat. With a bang, the sky shook. The shattered sword light was like a snowflake, emitting a dazzling silver light as it drifted down. What? The three God Kings were shocked. Amidst the dazzling silver sword light, Wu Shuang, who was dressed in snow-white robes and had a devilishly handsome face, crossed his arms. He looked majestic and valiant. I am no longer someone who needs master's protection. Now it is my turn. Rumble. Shunling Shuang's aura rose and finally stopped at the half-step God King realm. Her eyes shone with a strange red light, and it was obvious that she had used some powerful bloodline secret technique. This feeling, Lu Dingxing's heart thumped. He felt like he had seen it before, but he couldn't remember where. Without a doubt, this young and handsome man was comparable to a god king. Lin Shun was surrounded by a group of monsters. Challenging someone of a higher cultivation level was not as simple as one would think. Lin Shun stood beside her and smiled without turning his head. I didn't raise you for nothing. Shunling Shuang glanced at him. Who wants you to raise me? Lin Shun tried to cheer her up and smiled casually. You have grown up. If you cultivate diligently, you can still fight well. Shunling Shuang said proudly. Of course, I'm not young anymore. Then, Lin Shun said seriously, I'll leave the God King with the sword to you. Is that okay? Shunling Shuang nodded. No problem. Then let's end this quickly. Lin Shun stomped on the ground, shooting straight at Lu Dingxing. The battle god's spear spun in the air, and the tip of the spear came crashing down. Shunling Shuang raised her hand and pointed. The grayish-white law of slaughter streaked across the sky like a deadly arc. Stop them. The dragon race doesn't dare to fight us. Once the other god kings are free, they will definitely die. Lu Dingxing roared with all his might. The master and disciple faced the three god kings directly. This was the final battle of delaying. Chapter 2075. In the shuttle of flying Apsara, after settling the injured, Yuan Wujue and Zhang Fan rushed out of the shuttle of flying Apsara almost at the same time. Enemies are chasing us. Cover everyone. You retreat first. You retreat first. The two of them said at the same time, then shook their heads and laughed. Then let's fight together. In the battlefield, Lin Shen's 6 illusions were unable to stop more enemies. Lin Shen's war god spear swept through the air. The sharp golden spear wind broke through the sky like a rainbow, destroying thousands of true gods who were trying to chase the shuttle of flying Apsara. Divine feathers fluttered in the sky. The falling moon-like feathers blocked Lin Shen's path of retreat. Among the feathers in the sky, it was as if every feather was emitting a sharpness that could cut through the laws. Even god kings did not dare to underestimate them. The divine wings flapped. The sharp brilliance of the divine feathers shrouded Lin Shun. Lu Dingxing was so angry that he laughed. Fighting against 2 kings you still have the mind to attack the enemies chasing after you. Heavenly God King Xiao Chuha drew his bow and aimed an arrow at Lin Shun. When he released the bowstring, it was as if the sky had split open. The arrow was like frost. The world was covered in snow. Rumble. Chi. The sky and the ground were covered by the laws of the two God Kings. Golden light filled the sky. The divine light was resplendent. Lin Shen's aura soared as he held the spear, his pure strength soaring. Host has activated the second form of the War God Spear. Host is increasing the speed of using the Golden War God set to increase power. Energy consumption is increasing. 300 million desolate power, 400 million desolate power, 500 million desolate power. Lin Shen swept with his spear. The world-destroying golden spear wind rushed up, tearing apart all the laws within 10,000 feet. Immediately, Lin Shun took a step forward. His fist was like an aurora that shook the world, his fist violently smashing towards the shining starlight of the divine arrow. Pung! The world seemed to explode. The battle between the two kings was getting more and more intense. However, Lu Dingqing's speed was much faster than Blazing God King, making it harder to kill him. There's no time. Let's play big with these fellows. If this drags on, the other God Kings will come to our rescue. Suddenly, Lin Shen's battle god spear spun, and he threw it towards the sky. The divine spear streaked across the horizon and transformed into a brilliant golden light that pierced towards Heavenly Imperial God King's ultimate arrow. The corner of Xiao Chua's mouth twitched. The godly spear can even be used for shooting? This brat's battle skills are just too ridiculous. The godly spear was shot out at Xiao Chuha, and he was forced to back out as he was forced to dodge this attack. In the blink of an eye, he fired another arrow, only to find that Lin Shun had already disappeared from his original spot. The faint green divine light transformed into a divine wind that swept up the clouds. All attribute speed increase. 500 times, 1,000 times, 2,000 times, 3,000 times. This is the upper limit. Flapping his divine wings, Lin Shun instantly switched to the extreme wind god set. Boom! He streaked across the sky like an aurora, heading straight for Lu Dingqing. So fast. This brat is indeed using his original body. He knows how to use all kinds of strange divine item sets. Lu Dingqing raised his eyebrows as a look of disdain appeared on his face. This brat was still too slow to compete with him in terms of speed. Like lightning, Lin Shun threw out a punch at Lu Dingqing's head. His speed was so fast that it even bent the dimension. Lin Shun, I am famous for my speed. You dare to show off your speed in front of me? You are looking for death. Lu Dingqing's divine wings exploded with a strange speed as he arrived behind Lin Shun within a second and threw out a palm attack. Boom! Boom! The two were like two beams of divine light in the sky. In the blink of an eye, it was as if they had exchanged 1,000 blows. The divine light that scattered in all directions was like fireworks under the river of stars. Even the Heavenly Imperial Divine King could not keep up with the speed of their battle. Lin Shen's body was covered in wounds and blood. Without the buff of the Battle God set, even with the Extreme Wind God set, he would still be slightly weaker than a God King. After all, the Wind God set was not like the Battle God set. He still needed one more piece to complete it. Die! Lu Dingqing's divine wings gathered divine power and transformed into a giant blade that slashed at Lin Shun. All of a sudden, Lin Shen's pitch-black heavy armor appeared without any warning. Lin Shun raised both of his arms, and the black light around his body strengthened him. He was as immovable as a mountain, like a giant that could support the heavens and the earth. The black light of absolute defense enveloped 100 zhong of space. Host used the 3-piece sky raising divine set. Charge, 100%. Rumble. Lu Dingqing's full power attack fell like a falling moon. Lin Shun was pushed back inch by inch, but he was not injured at all. However, 90% of his sky-raising godly equipment set's energy had evaporated in an instant. Lu Dingqing's eyes narrowed. He is not injured at all? What the hell is this thing? Why is it so hard? Lu Dingqing's killing intent sword. Strength, defense, speed. This kid had trump cards in all of them. If he was allowed to grow in the future, even divine masters would not be able to do anything to him with the cultivation of a god king. Such an enemy was 2F * king dangerous. If he did not kill him, he would not be able to cultivate in peace. Slap. At this moment, Lin Shen changed into the wind god set again and actually grabbed Lu Dingqing's arm at close range. He grinned. I've caught you, the high and mighty divine king. In the next moment, a pitch-black divine summoning barrier emerged from Lin Shen's palms, sweeping across the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The powerful divine summoning barrier was not the slightest bit inferior to Lu Dingqing's laws, suppressing them in an instant. Even heavenly royal god king was separated as the god summoning enchantment appeared in front of him. There's such a move? Lu Dingqing's heart trembled. He realized that he could not even use his laws. Save me. Lu Dingqing sent a secret message. Xiao Chuhe was anxious. F***CK, I can't get in. This was much stronger than the god summoning enchantment that blazing god king had faced before. Consumed 30 million god-level heavenly Tao points, activating god summoning divine spark. This was the strongest god summoning enchantment that Lin Shen had ever used since he obtained the god summoning divine spark. It could even suppress a god king. Almost instantaneously, Lin Shen switched to the golden battle god set. Lin Shen, who was in the enchantment, could move freely. His shining golden leg armor was covered with the fusion of lightning and fire laws. A flame flash blasted towards Lu Dingqing, penetrating his defense. Lu Dingqing vomited blood. The next moment, Lin Shen grabbed his shoulders with both hands. His pure strength surged, breaking through 1 billion desolate power, exceeding his limits. Lin Shen's hands tore outwards, tearing flesh apart as God's blood splattered everywhere. Chi, rip! The Great Winged Monarch was torn in half by Lin Shen. His soul was imprisoned and destroyed by the laws. The Winged Monarch's arrogance vanished in front of Lin Shen. Another God King was slain. The moment the attribute light balls fell, a beam of green attribute light shot up into the sky. The set attribute treasure chest fell into Lin Shen's palm. Host has obtained the set attribute treasure chest. Upon opening it, you will obtain Extreme Wind God set component, Wind God feather helmet. Congratulations, host. You have collected all the components of the set and completed fusion. King of Speed, Extreme Wind God, automatically fused. Rumble. Lin Shen's body erupted with endless green divine light. It covered the stars and moon, looking down on the universe. The divine wind that covered the sky swept through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The wind howled and roared, stirring up the universe. At that moment, the triple realm sea shook. Extreme Wind God, descending into the critical sea. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.